The Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And I'm Ryan Dunigan. And before we jump in too far, I just want to give a special shout out and thank you to the Cass and Mirth podcast. They're two really nice, funny British guys. I was talking to one of them on Twitter a little while ago, listening to their show, and gave me a shout out on his last show. So I just want to give them a shout out. Dr. Norman Trousers gave me a shout out. So just wanted to give a shout out back to him.
Nice.
Check them out when you can.
What are they called again?
Casa Mirth Podcasts.
Casa as in like C-A-S-A, like...
Yeah, C-A-S-A, Mirth, M-I-R-T-H.
Cool. Well, it's always good to hear when people are giving out those shout-outs out there and whatnot.
It's weird because I know they're not. It's one of those. Maybe he's famous in England. I don't know, but it's one of those things. Like maybe when I know that he's not a famous person. Whenever you hear your name, like he mispronounced my name. He called me Ryan Dunigan, but it's spelt weird. I don't know. Which is
weird because Dunigan's the name of that area, but.
Well, no. He mispronounced. It's totally fine. Well, usually Dunigan is spelled with two N's, and I'm not completely like get my fucking name right, you know. But
I'll cross that pond and kick your fucking ass.
I don't know what he looks like. I imagine he's tall. I don't know, just from his voice. I imagine he's tall. No, but my name is spelled weird. It's actually pronounced Dunigan, but that would usually imply two N's, but there's just one N, so I can understand how that does lead to confusion right there. But no,
yeah.
You know. So they gave us a shout out. Check out their show. They're like, I think of a good way to describe. They have you know, sometimes they have other shows do quick little segments for them, like the Lo-Fi show does some little segments in the middle of their show, as well as Bold and Belligerent. I heard a Paint It Black ad in there. So yeah, it's a pretty good show. Check them out. Best way I can think to describe them. I wish there's another way. Dry and British as fuck. Best way I can think to explain it. Dry as fuck, but it's pretty funny though. It's pretty funny.
Well, it's like there's one British show I listen to. It's like the Retro Gaming Podcast, and that's one of those ones where it's like I don't know how like sometimes very few Americans probably get away with doing this, but they'll have their segments are just done mostly by one guy. There's like three guys on the podcast, but they each do their own 25-minute segment, and then they slap it all together and edit it. But it'll just be like one guy sitting there like, okay, we're going to talk about the Commodore 64 today. You know, one of my favorite things ever. You know, it's a good classic back in the day. You know, me and the old chaps used to play it. But for some reason, like, you can go on these, like, fucking one-person monologues of, like the Commodore 64 or, like, you know, the Sega Master or something like this. And it just works when it's in a British tone. If an American would do it, be like, me and the buds, we were out, fucking drinking some Mountain Dew, and next thing you know, we got Sega Genesis going, and Tommy came over, and he was like, hey, dude, fucking play Sega Genesis. Like, yeah, man, we'll fucking play Sega Genesis. We're like, yeah, so we started playing it, and fucking got the Sonic the Hedgehog going. Then we got bored, got some beers, and started punching each other in the face. Then we decided that was dumb, and probably should go back to playing Sega Genesis. Well, that's my memories of it.
The first one, the British one, sounds like the NPR gaming hour. The next one just sounds like a fucking Godsmack music video.
It's the Godsmack, plays video games back in the day, fucking gaming hour. We're brought to you by Doritos and Mountain Dew.
And what was the fucking video? It was like it was the fucking Scorpion King video. He's all like driving on a Harley Davidson out in the desert, and all of a sudden he sees like totally just like pulled right out of the movie, just kind of like almost photoshopped into the video. Like the time is upon us. He takes off his sunglasses, and all of a sudden a scorpion tattoo appears on his arm. Just stand alone. That song. If you wanted the song to reach out to like an angry 14-year-old, you get I Stand Alone from the Scorpion King soundtrack.
Oh yeah, because that's like the target audience right there.
That's that soundtrack. I remember back when I was like 13, that was like the coolest soundtrack ever. It was like, don't get me wrong, there were some good bands on there, but a lot of it was kind of like your typical like, this is like Godsmack, P.O.D., like, some other like Slipknot. And then there's also like Ozzy Osbourne, Rob Zombie, Hoobastank, So it was this weird like Nickelback. So it was this like ultimate like this is the ultimate album for like the angry 13-year-old in the early 2000s.
You're like, when I get a car, I'm so gonna blare this soundtrack as I drive by the Senior Citizen Center.
By the time that came out, emo was popular by then, so just kind of like you lost that soundtrack amongst other things.
Well, in the last handful of days, I felt like I've been doing really creative things, yet in a not really creative way. I
Hmm.
got Super Mario Maker.
That's already out.
It is. It came out like 3 days ago by now, I think.
Mhm. Oh,
And
just
it's one of
for
those ones.
right.
It literally gives you that feeling of like you've just done something really creative, but then you're like, oh, well, all I really did was create a Mario level I can share with other people, and I hopefully hope they play it and comment on it.
That's kind of what I feel like a lot of like stuff on whenever sometimes I would post like stuff for like when I was doing grit and posting on Facebook like, "Hey guys, when you can check out my comic." That's how it kind of feels sometimes. I imagine making the level for Mario Maker like, "Hey guys, I worked really hard on this level, so please give it a shot when you can."
Well, it's like the way they got kind of set up is, they give you like you make levels. They give you a handful of like pretty much Nintendo created levels, so you can kind of get some ideas. And then you can go online and play other people's levels. And they got kind of a nice way to do it. They got, either the tops or the favorite levels you can play. Or you play this thing, it's kind of like the challenge mode. They give you 100 lives and you got to go through either 8 or 16 or something courses. And it just plays random ass levels from people. So the nice thing about that, though, is it gives people a chance that may not have 300,000 fucking plays, who only have like 2 plays, a chance that their game can get, or their level can get out there.
Hmm.
And you go through it, and you kind of get that mix of like you get levels that are really well done. You get levels that you're like literally 10 seconds, and you're like, that's it, that's all you had in you.
Yeah,
And then you
just
get ones that are very like so artsy, you almost want to like drive over to France and slap somebody because
how you get artsy with Mario Brothers exactly?
well, there's
Because I
people that like they make these ones like the most popular level so far is this guy from France who he has one that says like don't press anything. That's what the level's called. And all it is like you just watch it and it goes through this fucking kind of like Pee Wee's Big Adventure breakfast thing where it's like dun 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 dun, and Mario kind of lands on the clouds, goes across, he gets hit by a bumper, flies up, and literally you're not playing, you're just watching this. And okay, maybe the first person to create that's kind of cool, but then afterwards you're just like, yo, this is a fucking video game, not a fucking movie. Go create something else, you fucking nerd. Don't make me drive over to France. Oh, so you can't drive over to France? I'll fucking find a way to drive to France. America, I'll get that. I'll get that
I'll
Scorpion King soundtrack, and we're gonna blare it all the way there.
I'll strap some water wings to my Harley Davidson and paddle my way to fucking France.
Just to slap some Frenchie in the face and say, "Don't make such a dumbass level, boy." But no, like other than that, like because you see some of those ones like that, and you're kind of like, "You fucking douche." That's all I think when I see that. I just go like, and I know the guy spent like a lot of time making it, but it just is like one of those ones like it reminds me of like when I see stuff like that, it's just like you made that just so you could get a lot of like plays. You didn't make that necessarily make it. Well, maybe he did make it. Maybe he's like, oh, I really put some time in it. Like from France. Oh, don't beat me. No, the guy's probably just like, hey, I made a level. I want to be creative. Whatever. Some fucking guy in America just doesn't seem to appreciate it.
I bet, I mean, that right there, I don't see the problem with that. I mean, it's one of those things every so often, like, how do I put this? All right, here we go. Artsy stuff like that doesn't really bother me. I mean, if that's all it is, if like a bunch of people start doing that, I can see how that can get kind of
Now
a
a bunch of
little
people started
annoying.
doing it afterwards, though. That was just the start of it, I think.
Okay, well, that guy, not, I mean, if you, because that's really hard to do, I'm sure. So to make a level where it just guides you and you don't even die, where you just have to trust the level to like, trust the fungus in order to get to the end of the stage, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But little Mario movie callback there. But it's more like I'm having trouble seeing how you can. I guess every once in a while there's one of those levels people make, those custom levels you see online. Like you must really fucking hate yourself or must think where they make those ridiculous, extravagant level that's almost impossible to beat. You got to get it just perfect. I could see how that could be a little irksome. What more annoys me is stuff like, even though I'm sure they all worked really hard on it, Little Big Planet. Like that's more the artsy stuff that annoys me because I'll see. I mean, some of the stuff like I'm sure there's some cool levels created, but it's one of those things like yeah, you can dress him up like Solid Snake, or you can dress him up like an Avenger, or you can dress him up like Sonic the Hedgehog. It's just like, or I can just go play a video game with those fucking characters in it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
It plays
Well,
better.
honestly, Mario Maker too, like you'll get some really like it's the clever like creative levels I seem to enjoy. You also get those guys every once in a while that will just create a level just to be such a pain in the ass. Like, I'll just make it as difficult as possible, just to be difficult, you know?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those.
I mean, at least the upside in it, Nintendo has a thing where, like, you can't upload a level unless you can beat it yourself.
That's good.
But what you can do, though, is you can sort of cheat it, in a sense, by, like, putting a feather or something in there that's kind of hidden where you can't really see it. So you know to grab that feather and to run across, where everybody else might not find that feather and have to deal with all the shit you put in between.
That is very kind of stupid. Yeah, like that. One of those things where like they expect you. It's kind of like this isn't Mario, but it's kind of like every once in a while when a game expects too much out of you. When a game expects you to suddenly make a career. Like even though I like this game, Sonic Adventure 2. Once you're doing all like the Knuckles levels, the first 2 levels or whatever aren't that bad. But when you get to these like gigantic stadiums, now go find those fucking emeralds, kids. That's where it's just like you're trying to make a fucking career out of this. Jesus Christ. I just want to go back to playing Sonic and Shadow. That's all I want to do. You know?
Well, I remember playing Sonic Adventure and having some of those levels take me like over an hour and a half on those Knuckles levels. And those levels are supposed to be like 20-minute levels, like in that game. Sonic the Hedgehog is not meant to be a game where like you spend a copious amount of time walking around trying to find something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And then I remember you could be like in the same spot, like a 10-foot radius, and it just thing will be going ding, 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 ding. You have to keep on drilling into the ground looking for this one precise spot. And I remember just getting ready to throw my Dreamcast out the goddamn window, but then I regret it like 5 seconds later. Oh fuck, that was my Dreamcast, you know. So that right there, it's like when they I mean, I can understand trying to like give a game challenge, but when a game really expects you to like make a job out of it, kind of like what you said about like Arkham Knight, like making like trying to like find every single Riddler trophy, trying to stop every single like watchtower, that can get irksome after a while. And I think same thing with a Mario game like that, where it's like you got to sweep this whole area for one random feather that would not be in a normal place, you know.
And I will say it's like it's like it's not like too bad like that. You'll never spend that much time on it. And also Nintendo has a thing too, like if you're playing it on like that way where you got the 16 choruses or whatever, if you get to a level that you like tried over like 10 times, you're like, this is fucking stupid. You can skip it and they'll just load up a new level. Just be like, no, I'm not playing your level that you made to make it fucking frustrating. Like there was a level I was playing last night. It's called, they said relax. It was like relaxing and not frustrating. I kid you not, I was very fucking frustrated with that level after about like 20 deaths. And I was like, I put a comment out there like, this is not relaxing whatsoever. This title is misleading.
That's probably just trolling a bunch of people. That's why, probably.
I know, it was like some poor lady in like, I don't know where, but just like, why make it, like after all these frustrating levels I was playing, I thought I was going to get something relaxing and fun, not frustrating as fuck.
Can you do anything like, because they have the 4 different Mario like styles. You got original Mario, you got Mario 3, Mario World, and then New Super Mario Brothers. Can you take like the graphics of one and use the items of the other, or is it all just kind of strictly within that time zone?
No, you can. The cool thing about it is you can make an entire level in Mario World, and at the last second go like, you know what? What does this play like in Super Mario 3? And then you just at a click of a button, it's like boop, it switches it all over.
What I mean by that exactly, like that's cool. That option's there, but say you have like the feather from Mario World. If you switch over to Mario 3, does it turn all the feathers into leaves instead? So
yeah, it does that.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay,
it does. It'd be kind of cool if it was like you could put a cape on Mario in the original Mario Brothers or something like that.
Yeah, like I'd just be kind of cool to just see some of the more updated stuff and like older versions of it. Just kind of curious. But either way, though, you can't ask for too much. I can see that being an expansion later in the line, or download this, like a DLC thing so you can have more options. I could see him possibly doing that down the line.
Well, because the weird thing about the game is like when I got the game day one and I was playing it, and people already had like these extravagant like fucking. Now I did get it later in the day too, but they had these extravagant like Mario Brothers 3 levels. But when you first get the game, it just gives you like the bare bones. It's like here's Super Mario Brothers and New Super Mario Brothers, and here's just the regular things. You get a couple Goombas, you get Goombas, a mushroom. You don't even get the Fire Flower yet. You get some blocks and just the most basic stuff. So at first you're like, oh, okay, I got to create a level like this.
Do you have to unlock stuff? The more levels you beat, the more you like unlock like bigger like villains and whatnot.
It's like the more time you put into building stuff, like it says something like, if you spend 5 minutes here, like working on this like level, this next package will come, and they kind of treat it like there's a delivery truck bringing you new material. So the more you play, then next thing you know, you get the water pack. So now you get water levels, and then you keep playing, then you get the castle pack, or then you get the airship pack, and so on.
Wonder how many people are actually excited to get, oh, I got the water pack, because no one ever likes the water levels.
No, I was like, I literally looked at them like, well, what I like to do though is I like to take like all the water enemies, but put them in regular levels. Because
just a fish flopping on the ground, like, help me.
No, I had the fish flopping in the fire. It was in the lava, and he was on fire, and it's just like, oh, somebody kill me now!
It's like the fucking flame. It's like, make it like a big fish, like the flaming whale in the beginning of like Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, just like that. Just like, oh, God! But, no, it's kind of cool. Or, like, doing things where, like, you put, like, in, like, a mystery block, you can put, like, a fucking squid pops out or something like that. It's just like, I've never seen that before. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other way I found is, like, if you want, because at first I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, I can't make Super Mario World levels, because that's, like, the main thing that sold me the game more than anything else, is more Super Mario Worlds. Everything else is cool, but that's, like, the topper of it all.
That's my favorite game, yeah.
But what you can sort of do, this is how I made my first Super Mario World level, is I just downloaded somebody else's who made one, and then just erased all their crap, and then I had the Super Mario World set up right there. That feels like it's like the back door into trying to get other things, but...
Is it one of those things, the more you work at it, the more levels you get, and the more materials you get, so you work your way up through Mario 1 to new Super Mario Brothers?
Well, they give you new Super Mario Brothers and Mario 1 at the very beginning. They just don't give you 3 in World.
Okay.
And I think there's about like 10 list of items. I'm only on like list 4 so far, so I still have like a ways to go to get more stuff. But they keep working at it. This will be one of those kind of games if Nintendo keeps putting in more DLC in the long run, because I mean it's already really sweet as is, but like they should put in Super Mario 2. Should be like a level style. I think that'd be cool. I mean,
or playing as something as much as like you could just switch off as different characters from Mario, Luigi, Toad, Princess, maybe even not just ride Yoshi, but play as Yoshi.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. And like maybe another one would be cool is if they put him Super Mario World 2 in there, so you have that art style. That would be a real sweet one. But they do have things where you can like tap the amiibos down, which I don't have any of those. But you can once again download it from somebody else and steal it.
Mm-hmm.
But so you can play as Samus or Sonic, or they have Peach and Toad and all those.
Sonic in 8-bit.
Yeah, you can play Sonic in 8-bit. But see, I don't have this. I almost want to go out and buy the Sonic one now, because I'm like, okay, I haven't seen some. Can you play Sonic in like Mario World like graphics or something like that? I just haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
All the levels that I've seen other characters on, they're always Super Mario Brother levels. I've never seen one with Super Mario 3 or even new Super Mario Brothers.
Plays Ryu, just like Ryu or like Solid Snake, just destroying through like the happy like Mushroom Kingdom.
Dude, that'd be awesome. I mean, like when in the 8-bit ones, it's like you kind of get Sonic, and all he does is like, he just runs along, and after a while he'll start spinning around. But it's not like he more just plays like sort of like Mario in a costume, I guess you could say. It's not like he plays like Sonic.
I heard they all play like Mario still, but they just happen to look like the whatever character.
Yeah, and then sometimes they'll have sort of like a special ability, I guess, or if you press up, they'll make like a certain sound or something different like that. But like there was a Mario 64 Mario, even though it was an 8-bit. But like you just kind of knew it was Mario 64 because when you press up, he's like whoo-hoo! And then when you beat the level, it had that do 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 bam.
Where he spins around and just like fist up, where it looks he's kind of like I don't remember, was it fist up or did he just was he doing the peace sign?
I think.
Okay.
Just flip.
Just what if he just like fist up or something? Just kind of like take the power back by Rage Against the Machine plays.
You gotta take the power back. But you know what would also be cool is this is like more like a super like if you're like really into Mario's, like it'd be cool if they had also like you get Mario Land worlds. Just to have like those graphics and then put all that kind of stuff in there too.
I was just thinking, I haven't played the game. Once I get a Wii U, I was actually the reason I'm surprised because I was planning on pre-ordering the pack for all this stuff right here. I just didn't know the game was out yet. So
you can go out and buy right now. I think they have a pack. I'm not too sure, but I think
it's the Amiibo, the game, and the Wii U.
It's got the Wii U, the game. I also thought it had Mario Kart in it almost, but maybe I saw something else. I thought it was like a rape edition.
Yeah. Mario's Rape Edition, yeah.
There's so much Mario, you won't know what to do with yourself.
No, but there was I might just go out and get that like after we're done here. I don't know. I'm kind of like pinching pennies right now, but for that, I just might go get that.
I don't know.
But
It's one of those kind of games. It's like it's sort of like not. I mean, it's a weird kind of game because it's like a game with no story. It's just kind of like creating and fun. But it's kind of fun and kind of addictive. And then like you start getting that like I'm gonna make like because I'm sitting down, I'm making some nice levels. Like I'm really proud of my levels when I'm done. I got like multiple pathways to get there and different things. Like I'm putting some effort into it. Which
mhm.
you see some people that don't put a whole lot of effort in, and then you see people that probably almost put too much effort in.
Wonder
And
how.
I'm proud of these levels. Then you see like you're like, ooh, I got 20 plays so far, and you get all like excited, and somebody leaves a comment and everything.
Which we already have. We already have like a podcast with like that does have like a devoted fan base. But yeah, but we just like, oh, 5 people played my levels.
Ooh, there's a guy from Germany and a guy from Norway and somebody from South Africa. I'm worldly.
I think this is what I was going to say originally, but I think I maybe drifted off when I was talking about Cast and Mirth podcast. I was going to say, I'm not sure if I said this. I was going to say it, but I think I drifted off somewhere else. It's kind of like when you hear your name on someone else's podcast, like the famous person said my name. Ah, it's like one of those things. Like it probably just is like they're probably not. You're probably on the same level as them, really, when it comes to maybe they're huge there. I don't know. I don't know. They're really cool guys though. But it's one of those things though when you hear your name on like someone like when you hear your name said by someone you never thought you'd hear it by before, you're like, oh my god, so you get the same thing with this, just like, oh my god, people know my levels exist.
You're like, and I got more plays than other people, so I know that I'm slightly better in some way.
That'd be the name of your next level, slightly better in some way.
I like to get my levels like interesting. Like I got one level called Stay Ballsy.
Stay ballsy. Please tell me there's a lot of like chomp balls in there.
Not on that one. It just got a lot of these like interesting jumps and so on. It was actually like it's the first one I uploaded on there, so I'm not nearly as proud of it as like some of the other ones. But
I wish that I know you probably won't. You won't be able to do this. No fucking way. Not this day and age. But I was thinking, like, how cool it would be just to. I know it's not going to happen. There would have to be like hacks and mods for it. But just take like, maybe you could do it something like on if you could play Spotify or something. But like, put like licensed music for certain levels. So like have like a Clint Eastwood, have like a few dollars more theme level, give it kind of like the dry jam look, and then just give the Man with No Name theme playing in the background.
oh yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. That sounds like something that you probably could have done if this game came out like in like early 2000s when that wasn't such a big deal.
Yeah, or probably even like if there's some kind
On
of
the
like
GameCube's like little like LAN internet that only played for like 2 different games.
yeah, exactly. But no, I mean it's one of those things. I know that's not going to happen. I'm not saying because when you're a kid, you get these big extravagant ideas like, what if there was a game that starred like Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, and the Street Sharks, and they all drove like a giant Voltron, So like those things, like all these like crossovers that would never happen, So I'm
Well,
not
as
trying
a
to be that
kid,
guy.
you literally just mashed everything you liked at the moment together into one.
Yeah, like why can't that happen? What's the big deal? Now just like, well, it take too long to explain. So
I'll just let you get older because by the time I'm done explaining it, you'll already be 12 anyways.
and Avengers will be out. So yeah.
But no, this game is pretty darn sweet. And then it like just it works so well with like the gamepad too. Because you just kind of click and touch it. It's like probably the best use of the stylus I've ever seen since the DS came out.
Since the DS. Well, I guess that makes sense.
It's a bold statement there, but I mean, I really think that like, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of generally the stylus. The only thing I just don't like is when there's a handful of like DS games that came out where they like forced you to use the stylus, but it was kind of weird because you're like, well, I have a D-pad right there. Why do I need to use a stylus to move around?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Sonic the Hedgehog RPG was like that. It was like you had to use a stylus to move around.
To make him walk around, like, oh, walk over to that corner. So you click it and you walk over there, or would you have to like drag him along?
I can't remember if you had to drag him along or if you clicked it like it was fucking Diablo or something like that. Well, whatever.
I think it make more sense to like click them in a certain direction, but still, yeah, that would be one of those. Like, do you remember there was like a game kind of like that? Like, whenever they have that in games, it just makes you feel weird. Whenever it's like makes sense for a computer game, but when it's some other game, like a Genesis or like Super Nintendo game, that always felt so fucking weird. Do you remember like I think it was Pac-Man 2, where you didn't actually play as Pac-Man. Pac-Man
New Adventures.
and you'd have to like point on something, he'd walk to it, and it was almost kind of like just keep Pac-Man alive because you'd have to shoot at shit as things attacked him. You know, it's like Pac-Man's got to go down to the store and get some fucking milk, kids. So just like shoot at shit that tries to kill him. You know, so
yeah, if a rabid dog jumps out, like shoot with your slingshot.
It almost, I got this image. You're just driving a car next to Pac-Man, just shooting at the shit like a fucking.
So it's like you're covering your idiot friend, like going down the street. You're like, Bob over there. He just, he's gonna trip over things. He's gonna run into kids with skateboards. He might get in a fight with a hobo. He just can't take care of himself.
That's kind of what it was, yeah. So it wasn't even like you were playing as Pac-Man. You just had to keep him alive.
I remember playing that game, like putting hours into that because just trying to figure out there was neat stuff in it, and it was one of those kind of games where it wasn't like super linear. I mean, you could kind of like go exploring and so on and find out like if I shoot this, what happens here? If I shoot that, but it would be a frustrating game sometimes when like Pac-Man would just be like, no fucking Pac-Man, go that fucking goddamn direction. You kept pressing like the X button where it's like pointing, like go. And he'd be looking at you like, I don't wanna. And you're like, don't give me fucking attitude. And then you shoot him in the face. You're like, bitch, you go to the right.
So now you're basically his fucking. He's basically your fucking slave. You'll get the fucking boot, Pac-Man. You'll get the fucking boot.
He'd always give you like attitude sometimes. It's like, or he'd look over at something and he'd like peek over, like, womp. It's like, just go for it. Don't fucking like bitch up and like have to look. I'm here controlling you, goddammit. It is a weird concept though of like somebody must have had like an idea for another game and they're like, that's probably not going to sell well. But if we slap Pac-Man in there, everybody loves Pac-Man. He hasn't had something new for a while. Let's make it Pac-Man 2, The New Adventures.
There was like, what was it? There was I just imagine it being almost kind of like if someone tried to make that game now, just like some like weird indie like because it's like I noticed some of the indie games are the ones where they try to get really artsy with it and try to make you think about things we've done before, like Papers, Please, or the one you were talking about,
Hotline
Miami, yeah. So do something like after you kill Inky, you can just kind of proceed with the game, not a big deal. But then there's this one house you always go by, and you go in there, you see there's like Inky's ghost family. Mom's just waiting at the window for the kid, waiting at the window for her man. Little like kids are waiting at the table for like food that's not coming, You got really the option. You got the option to like confront the family or just like send like a check every month from like an anonymous person.
It's like what Pac-Man does. It's like he feels bad that he like ate all these ghosts that he didn't think actually had a home or real life.
Yeah, the ghosts are just doing their job. That's what they're doing. They're doing their job. So he sends like money to them every month. Like they don't know where the money comes from. They assume it's from Inky.
Well, I remember that Pac-Man 2 also being kind of one of the first games I know where you kind of like torture a character. Because you could do that thing where like Pac-Man's walking by like the rabid dog, and then like right as he gets close, you shoot the lock off of it, and then shoot the dog so he's pissed off, and then he jumps on Pac-Man and starts attacking him. And you just sit there and watch like at this crime you just did.
That's pretty dark right there. Now that you mention it, I forgot about that part. You could shoot. I only played the game once, but it left an impact, obviously, because I'm remembering it from like the 4th grade.
Sadly enough, I put in probably like at least a good. I almost say my entire lifetime, at least 10 hours or so into that game, which sounds so weird. But I remember playing it like at night, like for all night long. I think maybe with Cisco or something like that. And I mean, like we got pretty far into that game, and just like we gotta see what's next. Gotta see what's next. I don't think I ever beat the game, but
did it have save points?
I don't think it did. See, nowadays that's like the one thing that makes like emulators kind of so nice. And even though nowadays when you download games on like the Wii and stuff, you can do save states and so on. And to me, like that save state, that's what makes it so good. Is for all those games that didn't have actual save points in them. So you had to literally beat the game from beginning to end. The game could be 8 hours long, but you'd have to put all that time into it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, or a lot of times they're not that long, but still, they feel like they're that long when you can't save.
That's why it was such a big deal if you beat a game back when you were a kid. When you beat a game as a kid, you felt like you accomplished something. You felt like, this is a new chapter in my life. But then nowadays, though, it's so easy to beat a game because you can actually save. You don't have to like take time out of your day to actually like, no. Today's the day. I'm just sitting right here. I got my Mountain Dew. I got my Cheetos. I'm just sitting right here in my beanbag chair all day. Don't care what happens. Not going outside.
Dude, the beanbag chair. I miss those. I used to have like this real nice one when I was a kid until it finally got like a hole and the beans were like everywhere. Dude, I
Older
almost want to go. And it was like it was one of those ones that had like the kind of the fake leather to it, but it was nice and comfy. It wasn't like one of those cheap ones with that weird fabric material over it.
Mine had the fake leather, and it was kind of like made to look like a baseball.
Yeah, mine kind of. It looked like. Well, mine just looked like a bowling ball or something. But
God, for like younger listeners, this probably has to sound like listen to two old fucks reminisce about like fucking some. Do they even make beanbag chairs anymore? Is that gone? I haven't seen a
I
beanbag chair.
bet you could probably get one. I just don't think they're popular though. You probably have to
Yeah.
like special order it from some company in like Minnesota or something like that.
Every once in a while you see kind of like people from our folks' generation buy things that ultimately don't have that much use anymore, but they still get them just because it reminds of the glory days. I could see maybe pretty soon, if it hasn't happened already, some line relaunching like they're back, beanbag chairs and on high quality, just the way you remember it. Some guy puts it like, and like the wife's like, Henry, what are you doing? Oh, come on, come on. We look great for the gaming room. No, it doesn't. It looks like the 12-year-old lives here. Just like, why can't you ever support me? This makes me happy.
Well, maybe I want it to look like a 12-year-old lives here, because you know what? That's how I remember it. That's when the days were good. That was the last moment of life that I actually enjoyed. Okay, get the
You
fucking
want to take that
beanbag
from
chair.
me too? You want to take that too?
It's just like, Jesus Christ, get the fucking beanbag chair. If it's that big of a deal, it is a big deal. But I gotta get two of them, though, because, what if Tommy comes over later and we want to play Pac-Man 2, New Adventures? I need a wingman for that game. I know it's a one-player game, but it takes two people to play.
He said the same. He had the same rant from when he put up the Spawn movie poster in the living room.
And he said it had to be slightly crooked because that's how a 12-year-old would hang it up.
Oh boy. No, because I could see that possibly happening. I mean, people still buy vinyls. People still enjoy vinyl, but I can see
People
them.
still enjoy beanbag chairs.
I can see that happening. I can see them like just like. There's some shit like, all right, I'm trying to think here. Like, I know it's got to exist, but there's some shit out there that like it just kind of comes back. Not that it has any real use. Oh, I remember they started re-releasing cassette tapes. That's what it was. They started re-releasing cassette tapes of old bands, and it was right around like I remember like the Guardians of the Galaxy things. It was like, oh, retroness. You remember that?
I guess I don't think I saw Guardians of the Galaxy one that was on cassette. Makes
Yeah,
sense. It was like a
and they
prop.
also they had like other cause like I don't know, it was like I think it also came with other stuff like a poster and all that. But there's stuff I remember seeing things like just random like '80s bands come back out with cassette tapes.
Hmm. Downfall that's gotta go out and get a cassette player. Like I have those, but not everybody has that.
Yeah.
See, I literally should get a beanbag chair because I'm still one of those people. Like when I play video games, I still sit on the floor anyways. I just got like these big giant pillows I sit on. Like I don't know what it is. When I play video games, I don't want to sit on a couch. I don't want to sit on a chair. Like I want to sit on the floor, like the way God intended. Like I feel like the second you sit in a chair and play video games, it's like you become an adult. No. That's like that. That's that last step. You're like, you could do all these other things. You could get a bank. You could get a
What if
credit
it's one of
card.
those
But the second that you get a fucking chair and put it in front of a TV,
childhood is gone?
hmm
What if
do you
it's one
remember
of
those?
those special chairs made for playing video games that's on the ground that rocks back and forth? You could
I
even
was just
plug.
about to say, is like you remember those ones too?
Yeah, I remember those. You could like plug your headphones into them.
I don't know the fancy ones. And then like the other thing they had in the 90s. You remember the inflatable furniture?
I remember the inflatable furniture. You were one time ranting about like that's what we should do, man. If next place we get, because we were talking about, I don't remember where we were talking about moving to somewhere, but we were like, we should just buy a bunch of fucking inflatable furniture. That's what everything will be, man. It'd just be so easy to pack up and go. And you were serious about it. You weren't joking. You were dead serious.
I'll tell you this, I'm probably still serious about that because I hate furniture. I'm like one of those people, like when I see furniture, it makes me angry. Like I go in a store and it's like, fucking cabinets. Fuck you, cabinets. What are you looking at, huh? And then, I look over there and it's just like there's some kind of, unless it's like a DVD shelf, if it's any other kind of shelf, I'm like, fuck you. I don't want to move you. Fucking heavy ass piece of junk from the 1800s. Fuck you. What makes you so special? Like, I don't know what it is. I just have a hatred towards furniture.
You just hate moving it. That's all you
I
do.
think that's it. I think it's like I've moved so many like rich people's like heavy ass shit that they didn't need in the first place that like it made me like very bitter towards furniture. And nowadays, like I always feel like if I had like a house that like I had nothing of my old stuff. Let's just say like you lost everything somehow, some way, and you had to like restart. I would buy like almost no furniture, like whatsoever. Maybe like a TV stand. But hell, I'd even go back to the olden days where it's like, what'd you use for a TV stand? Well, I just took a bunch of fucking phone books and stacked them up and put the TV on top of it.
Had a milk crate for a coffee table.
Exactly. It's because it's one of those ones like sometimes I just hate like and you know the only couple furniture that like you kind of have to kind of have. It's like a refrigerator or something like that. But I don't count that in the same category.
That's more of a utility, I think.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's something you can't really get around. But I always say, like, furniture-wise, if two people can't carry it easily, then it's too much. And generally, most things should be carried by one person. You know, when you get some fucking mattress that takes 4 people to carry a mattress in, then that's, like, too much. You know what I mean?
Obviously, someone was hitting. Something happened. You clearly had some bad like history here. It's like, is it like wrapped up in your subconscious? Like, me and furniture go back a long way. You don't bring it up. You don't talk to me. I refuse to walk into an IKEA. Too many bad memories.
I just start breaking shit when I see an IKEA, you know? I don't know what it is. I'm like one of the few people that probably hates furniture because nobody ever mentions that. Like, you know what I hate? Furniture. Pisses me off.
That's the DVD rack.
Yeah, it's like a DVD rack or something that like you can easily carry and dismantle.
I told that story. It was almost like probably a year ago by this point, but like I have this heavy desk. Well, I mean, it's like it's heavy. It's like in short range walking, it's not that heavy, but for walking roughly 2 miles, it was heavy. And I remember there's this cool little like I guess just furniture shop down the road. It just has random things. It'll be like an old radio or like this old vintage like furniture store basically. And I needed a desk, so I got this thing, and I didn't take into account like the lady offered to like help me carry it back to my place. But
You're like, I'm a man. I can carry it back myself. I don't need you to carry it, lady.
Exactly what I said. No, I actually didn't say that. No, I just didn't. The truth is, I just felt like if she carried it all the way over there, I would have had to pay her a tip. And I already paid her $250 for this thing. So I was like, I'm good, thank you. So I just carried this thing for like fucking 2 miles up a hill in San Francisco down to my place. So it was just thinking like, holy fuck, you know. But where was I going with this? So that right there, I could say, okay, well, that one person could carry this. Obviously, it took it 2 miles, so one person can carry this thing. But most cases, I kind of see what you mean. If it takes more than 2 people for like a short range, then that's kind of saying something about it. Probably don't need it that badly.
Yeah, and it's mostly when it comes down to that kind of furniture that people get, like when it's like they don't just get a regular table; they get a marble top table, and something just stupidly heavy. Like I think that's what bothers me. It's like if you're gonna get something, get like a fucking light table. Get a fucking camping table.
The moving shops will move it in for me. I don't have to do it myself.
It's their back problem, not mine.
It's not their children. I'm gonna have to grow up and I'm gonna have to teach how to play catch.
It's like the few things of furniture that I think that are okay is like a computer desk. You sort of need that because you get back strain if you don't have a computer desk, pretty much. The classic couch, you can't really go wrong with the couch. You can get kind of ways around it with like plastic furniture and blow up things and beanbag chairs. So you almost can slightly avoid it. I always thought like a sweet living room to have would just be one where like, even though this almost sounds like some type of orgy pit, but at the same time, if you're playing video games, maybe it's not so bad. But if you just had all these like, comfy pillows and giant, blankets and bean bags and all this kind of stuff. You just kind of like jumped into it and just like got comfortable however you felt fit.
First thing you do when you walk in your room, you drop down your briefcase, just dive into the room. Doesn't matter where, because eventually you're going to hit something, whether it be a beanbag chair
like
or something
ball
inflatable.
Pit of like comfortable items.
You just want a fucking ball pit for a room.
As long as those ball pits are like nice and soft and comfy. Adults get like a ball pit and then like just have it in their house and just go in and hide in it for a while.
Pet her ass, maybe.
No. I'm not talking about like somebody who's just like they like the ball pit because it reminds them of them being a kid. They're not creepy in any way. I know it sounds creepy
It's
to own
kind
a
of
ball pit, but
creepy. Come on, like so you go to like someone, you go to visit somebody, you open their front door, just a bunch of balls roll out. Come on in, guys, just shuffling through this ball pit. The whole house is a fucking ball pit.
or there's like just like whenever like some guy he just feels down. It's like
Where
somebody
the fuck was my iPhone? Just shoveling through the ball pit.
like his friends come by. He's like, hey, could Tom come out and play? It's like the wife's just looking at him like, oh. Tom couldn't find his iPhone. He's pissed, so he jumped in the ball pit. He's been in there for the last 2 hours. I haven't seen him come out yet. He might have drowned in there. Maybe you guys should go take a look.
I remember, I think it was shit. What was it? It wasn't. I think it may have been Wonder Years. It was actually a part that's supposed to be comedic, but it actually kind of freaked me out. I want to say there's an episode where the kid or Fred Savage was having like a bad like nightmare. At some point, he was like in a ball pit or something. Then he sank down into the ball pit, like "Save me! Save me!" His hand going into the ball. It was meant to be funny, but it was just one of those scenes as a kid that would just kind of like traumatize you. So I remember
You're like that can happen.
yeah. So I remember it was just a nightmare scene, but I bet like so I remember like for 2 years, if I went to Chuck E. Cheese or something, I would not go in the ball pit. Like, no, I was staying in little tubes, and I just like fuck ball pit. Like, go in, go. Like, no. I turn around, like, what the fuck you doing? And there's little
Like,
kids.
I can't. Don't you know what happens in there? Kids drowned all the time.
What's the worst? Like, some kids saying in the ball pit's like, what's the worst thing? It's fucking Jaws pops out, pulls the kid down. I'm like, oh shit, ball pit Jaws, fuck.
Then you'd always, when you were a kid, there was always like that some like creepy, like slightly older kid that would go and hide underneath the ball pit and try to like pull little kids in there to scare them.
Yeah, that guy was like probably a
He had like no other friends to
rapist in
hang
the
out
making.
with, so like he was probably like in the 6th grade or something like that, But when everybody else is like in the 2nd and 3rd grade, this guy just seems like the creepy like midway adult that's trying to like attack you.
The parents are being kind of like, look, he only had he can't really connect with kids his own age. Only kids are like in the 2nd and 3rd grade, so just let it by. It's the one thing that makes him happy. We just give it to him.
He's not. I mean, he's like a bully, but it's not. He's just scaring kids. It's not like he's hitting them or taking their lunch money or anything. Traumatizing like 2nd graders at like a ball pit. That's not going to affect them in the future.
It's only mental scars, not physical ones.
In the 90s, when it was mental, you just meant you're mental.
When you had like, it seemed like back in the 90s, like mental abuse, that just almost seems like, well, it's scarring me mentally. You fucking pussy. That seems to be the way it went back then. Now it's almost kind of
nowadays it's like mental's like everything. It's just like, oh, he cyber attacked her mentally. It's just like, what? You're like, back in our day, a bully, he showed himself and he showed his fist all at the same time.
You steal your lunch money, steal your Pokemon cards.
Speaking of Pokemon, you sent me that trailer to that Pokemon Go, the future we're going to live in next year.
Yeah. I'll say this about that trailer. It had this real kind of like, go out and live life now, kids. It didn't feel like almost kind of like it was trying to be like an inspirational like college commercial or for a university.
No, it looked like there was a bunch of like middle-aged guys, like a bunch of people like in their 30s and 40s, like, you know what? You always want to be a Pokemon master. You may not be 10 years old anymore, but that doesn't mean that the 10-year-old inside you has died. Go out and live your dreams. Fuck work. Fuck school. Fuck your friends. Unless they're Pokemon trainers. Then take them along on your adventure and just start walking the earth like Kane and Kung Fu.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, no, I mean like, because like how usually you try and present like a lot of ads for universities or tech colleges, like very inspirational with this uplifting. It had a lot of that to it. Even some moments, some of the cinematography looked like it was trying to be kind of like, what was that movie? Tree of Life. Some of the cinematography in certain moments, So
like, look, there's Brad Pitt riding a dinosaur. What you always wanted. Now capture that Brad Pitt on.
There's Brad Pitt riding a Charizard.
Well, there's a part too. It's like there's like a guy. It's like okay, there's a Caterpie, there's a Pikachu, and then like some guy stumbles. He's out like hiking in the woods. There's a Charizard. I'm like, you don't fucking just find a Charizard out there. No, don't lie to me now.
I'm like, I haven't really been in Pokemon in a while, but a lot of it sticks. And I remember like, you're not just gonna stumble upon that. And then he just throws a Pokemon. Oh, I caught a fucking Charizard. Like, no, that thing is coming for you, and you're fucking dead. your kid is gonna die with you.
Yeah,
Because he was with his
Charizard's gonna
kid.
eat your kid in front of you while you sit there with no legs and no arms.
Because everybody in the trailer, aside from this guy who had his kid with him, everybody in the trailer, it was trying. I think it's definitely trying to go for more our age because everybody in the trailer was like mid-20s to like mid-30s. It looked like, and then like basically it just shows people going around. It's just like, what if like Pokemon were in the real world? And you see them people using like their iPhones and their smartphones as like basically Pokedexes, walking around, and they see a Pokemon and they catch it, just like play together, catch together, trade together, and then and the last one, it's like they figured out some money for this part. They're in Times Square, New York. I believe it's Times Square, New York.
Yeah.
And all the screens go white. It says catch Mewtwo. All these people are running. It's like it says time limit. And this part, I mean, this is where the
This
music
part just made me laugh because it's like, there's a Mewtwo! And everyone's like, get that motherfucker! And they're throwing their Pokemon out.
Like the Mewtwo, he's Mewtwo, so he looks badass and looks like nobody fuck with it. Also, like, everybody's like, there he is! Like, wait, what? Like, 80, like, fucking, like, Pokemon attack this guy was. It's like, it doesn't even look like, because usually Mewtwo's just the ultimate badass. You can't stop him. But this one, he's just like, he's trying to avoid death. He's fucking like, fuck!
Well, he's just like overwhelmed. It's literally like 50,000 people just decided to like attack him at once. He's like, I thought there was a rule in the old Pokemon world. The classic Japanese one-on-one thing. What the fuck is this 50,000 on one?
So like that right there was. I remember so that right there, like it was a well-made commercial. I did like the commercial quite a bit, but the way it looks like it goes is the actual game. I have not watched any of the actual press conference stuff for it, but it looks like the way it works is you get this app for your phone. It tells you where to go in the real world to find a Pokemon or whatever. You have to catch the thing. And then I guess that's part of your roster, like it is in the regular Pokemon world. And I'm guessing from there you do the usual stuff, trade, battle, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I don't really know, because what I imagine what it's going to be, because I remember before this, like almost a year ago, Google Maps had this April Fool's thing where it was like, go on Google Maps, look around. They had this whole like, we're going to hire a Pokemon master for Google Maps. You got to go travel the world and find, And it was sort of an April Fool's thing, but it was kind of like a half and half thing. Like you could find this stuff, but there was no major reward for it. I think it was more of a test for this. And what you do is you'd go to like a certain spot in Google Maps. It'd tell you where this thing was. You have to zoom into a certain area, and there would be like a 3D model of the character. And in the ad, it was all moving around and making noises and all that kind of shit. I don't know if it did that in real life, but it'd be a 3D model of the character. You click the thing, you caught it. Now, I don't know if this is going to be kind of like something where, because every once in a while, it's mainly for kids stuff, I noticed, but you'll be a thing where you'll look at like I think they have it for the DS, where you put a card down. And
well, yeah, as I say, because your DS didn't come with all those, but like when I bought my DS, it came with this whole pack of cards where you put them down, and then it was really fucking hard. You had to have like the right lighting and everything, but you'd get it all set up, and then like there'd be like Mario would be standing there, or you could get one from Nintendo Power or Nintendo.com where you got this huge fucking floor one that you could get of yourself as a Mii or whatnot. So you could literally take a picture of you and your Mii together. Like like some kind of like creepy ghost like thing that like there's me and my Mii.
That seems quite vanity right there. Here's me and here's a big avatar of myself next to me.
We're both flipping the bird. Fuck you.
Well, so I'm not sure if it's going to be one of those things where you just kind of walk around and you go to a certain radius, like, oh, here's an area where you can catch this thing, so you catch it, or if it's going to be something to the effect of like you see it through your phone in a little kind of like, you know what I'm saying, kind of like the DS thing where you see a 3D model of it or something like that, and that's how you view it.
I think that's how it is, because I saw some pictures where they held this like, here's a picture of like of a park. And then it showed, like, on the next picture, it was like, there's Charizard walking into the park or whatever. So I think it's going to be just like the 3DS thing where, like, there was, like, that Face Raiders or whatever game they had on the 3DS where you just shoot a bunch of creepy pictures of your face.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be something like that. Because, they've made a bunch of those kind of light games. I never played any of the other ones, but there's been some you can download on the 3DS. So I think that's kind of what they're going for. I'm actually kind of surprised this game's not actually on the 3DS itself, because it seems like it'd be also a perfect one to, like, interconnect your 3DS with like the phones as well too. Like I mean, the phones make sense, but I guess the 3DS doesn't have a GPS on, so that's why it doesn't have it there.
This is probably Nintendo's first attempt because they're saying, "Oh yeah, we're going to do mobile games now." This is probably their first attempt at that one. And on top of that, I mean, because this one kind of came out of nowhere. Because like Nintendo said, like, look, we're not going to try and just make the Mario versions of Angry Birds. We actually want to make real games for like for like tablets and mobile devices. So and this seems like that could be the case. I mean, it doesn't seem, I'll be honest, I'm not really as big into Pokemon as I was when I was younger. I mean, I got a lot of nostalgia. I love the Gen 1 stuff, the game itself, I remember being really fun. But as far as like the show goes, I mean, I have fond memories of it, but it's not something that I think really holds up. But I mean, this could be fun though. The idea of you actually to find this thing, you actually have to go to this area. Now that right there, I was saying it makes it a job. But I mean, if you happen to be in a certain area, like what's over here? Oh wow, I can capture this kind of character, or this kind of Pokemon over here, over there. So I think that could be kind of fun. And that idea of like, oh, you're actually in the radius of somebody who with the same app, so you can battle if you want. You know what I mean?
No, I think it's actually like a fantastic idea. The first thing I noticed though when I looked at the very end of the trailer, I was like, of course it's not on Windows Phone. But then again, I was like, if it was on Windows Phone, that almost makes it like Pokemon's an Xbox game too, if that's the case.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
But I thought because it's like they mostly never put things on Windows. But then if you think about it, because that's the way that Windows treats like their games on their phones, is kind of like it's like Xbox Mobile or whatever, because the games you get on there, they interconnect with your Xbox Live account anyways. So technically, Pokemon you would see it on your Xbox One if you had it on your phone. So that might be fucking weird. Maybe that's the reason why it's not on there.
It's like that thing whenever you have like you mentioned it whenever you were playing like Mario or Sonic on your PSP or something like that.
You just felt like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I remember feeling weird the first time playing like Sonic on GameCube. Like it's not a joke. Something bad's gonna happen here.
Yeah, exactly. It's just too weird. Well, this is what I kind of wonder. It's like, okay, in that Pokemon game, now I know it's probably not going to be like as in depth as maybe. I hopefully hope it is. I mean, I hopefully hope it's not just kind of. I mean, Nintendo sounds like they're putting some effort into it, and it's not just going to be your regular old phone game. I hopefully hope it is like almost like the next 3DS game in a sense. Like they're treating it like that kind of high.
I see it being. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, who's going to be like the gym leaders and stuff? What, you're gonna like have to like knock on like CEOs' doors and be like, "Hey, I have to battle you for the badge," or you're gonna go down to like some Air Force base or something like that and look for the colonel.
You
or
have to
next
like.
thing you know, you're in like Little Italy and you're looking for some kind of mobster. You're like, I know this is the 8th gym leader here.
This is where Giovanni is. Or you go to like fucking you go to like the fucking Tenderloin, Oh wow, this is there's got to be some big battle here. You're just walking around. There's some crackhead like, what do you want? Like, you want a Pokemon battle? The fuck you say?
You look down at your phone. You look at him. It's like for some reason, like when you look at your phone at him, it's like yeah, just like that. So now it's just like a Scyther's like yelling at you.
It's like they live.
Yeah, it's just like that on your phone. Now you start to see the real world.
Everybody like that guy's not a real person. He's a Pokemon. He's a Diglett in disguise.
So you throw your Pokeball out, it captures him, it sucks him into the phone. You're like, whoa, I didn't expect that to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I see they also release like there's like you don't have to get it, but there's like a watch thing that comes with it that kind of like has a little Pokeball thing or whatnot, and that sort of helps control the game itself. Plus, that's how when you walk around town, other people can see that you are a Pokemon master.
I wonder how many people you just get like walking around with that and they'll stop like, I challenge you. You will actually have that thing where you'll be just walking through town that some kid walks up to you. Shorts are comfortable, don't you think?
It's just like you're in the middle of a line. It's like us. A lot of people are like, I just want to order my sandwich. You're like, fuck off, man. This is a Pokemon battle. This is real life. Why don't you get with the program?
Like you go to Walgreens, like a Walgreens worker who just walks up to you. It's like, yeah, we have 25% off all Pepsi products. Oh, really?
He sees it, so he pulls his arm up the Pepsi product. He sees he's got a watch on. He's like, I challenge you now, just like in the middle of the store.
You would have to do that, if I had that at my job. Like, I'm sorry, boss, I got to stop for a minute. This guy's challenging me. I just can't. I got two jobs. You hope you understand, right?
I saw a
I could see
comment.
it doing. I could see it doing a certain thing, like whoever has like the most wins or the most battles. I mean, this is just a guess. Maybe they are doing something like this, but I could see whoever has the most wins and most battles in a certain area. I could see the the program or the app or whatever naming that guy maybe the gym leader or master of the area. I could see something like that. But if you're not active enough or you don't go out enough, you lose that title. So you
That
actually
literally sounds like a way to get like gangs started everywhere. It's just like, well, Tommy over here, he's the master of all. He's beating all these people here. He's the master of Twain Hart. Some
just
38-year-old guys like, yeah, you got like a fucking office or something now. Just sit up there like, yeah, I'm the Pokemon champion of this town. What of it?
he's customized his Pikachu to have like 209 tattooed across his chest.
Next
That's
thing you
always
know,
the funny thing. Whenever you see, like, whenever you go to like Sonora and you see some of the more like kind of thug or rapper kids, you'll be like 209. It's just like Twain Hart, like trees, mini golf, that shit. Yeah, man, 209, represent that shit. Just like, okay,
okay. Glad you're
But maybe,
happy.
yeah, but like forest fires ain't no fucking joke, bro. Yeah, no, but like, they had like. I can imagine, like, I'm just kidding. I'm just imagining like this whole like fucking turf war between. It's like that episode of Pokemon supposed to be kind of like the good. It's between like a fistful of dollars where it has like it's the Electabuzz and the Scyther and their wars just tearing apart this town.
Oh yeah, like the that's also what I feel like this could turn into if like you have gym leaders and such. It's just like he's the champion of the area.
I
Like
could see
this
something
could be
like
that
that.
first game that really translates from being like, okay, remember when we just used to play video games like on the couch in front of the TV to like where video games now is life.
I could see something. I could see that game possibly doing that because I'm imagining going out and battling and winning all these fights would probably hinder some kind of reward. So I imagine that would give you some kind of ranking. But I imagine you probably lose the ranking if you don't play the game enough, or so it's like whoever wins the most matches, you get some kind of
It's
title.
always that one. Whoever has the most free time is going to be
Yeah.
the champion.
So it's like some 9-year-old kid, some 9-year-old kid
Yeah, it's
who
always going to
has
be the kid who can like sit there and play all day long through school.
and
I
you're gonna
saw
see a stupid little avatar. I'm guessing they have like an avatar, just some stupid little kid like smiling and has like missing two front teeth or some bullshit.
yeah, they'll probably look something like a me if I had to guess, like Avatar. Might look more like the Pokemon world characters themselves. But I saw somebody had a comment though, which made a lot of sense. He's like, if they should have just kept that Google Glass going a little bit longer, because this would have been the perfect thing for the Google Glass. Because yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, you put those glasses on and you're just going around and just like, oh, there's Pokemon over there. You just see it the whole time. You wouldn't have to pull up your phone. You'd just be looking at it, which would probably be horrible if you're driving down the road like, there's a fucking Pokemon. Pull over to the side of the road, just like get out of your car and just start chasing it.
The Google Maps thing, they're saying that was actually kind of like they
No,
believe
the
that
Google
was sort of a
Glass, like those
test.
glasses.
Yeah, there's the glass, but what first started this was what kind of brought the idea was the Google Maps thing. They're saying that that may have been kind of like a test, see how many people tried it out, how many people went looking for the different characters. And I went on IGN because I heard this is something I heard about after the fact. I remember seeing the ad, and then a few days later, kind of hearing, oh, it was an April Fool's joke. That makes sense. And then just before we did this podcast, I was watching the microphone. What was I saying? They actually showed like the locations of where people found all these different Pokemon. So, like a Spearow or Sparrow, something like that, was on the Golden Gate Bridge. A Charmeleon was somewhere in like England. Like I want to say Electabuzz somewhere in Texas. So they kind of like had people. They're really spread apart. It wasn't like, oh, they're all like in this one little area. Like they were all over the world. So.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those ones like it makes you wonder too because the combo of like, okay, you just got this like random generator game going on with these Pokemon, and then the world out there. It's like hopefully they don't like you have to like walk into some abandoned sawmill or something like that to try to like, find a Pokemon.
You gotta go to like fucking like you gotta go into like fucking war torn Afghanistan to find Mewtwo.
Yeah, exactly. You have to go hiking through the mountains up there.
and still not fucking catch him.
Exactly. You go there, there's just some Afghani guys like, I own the Mewtwo.
Yeah.
Dare challenge me, or you must die.
He just has a bunch of people bowing before him. He has like a big like fucking like painting of Mewtwo on a scroll behind him.
It's like, ISIS has gathered Mewtwo already.
ISIS is winning Pokemon Go.
Apparently ISIS is now, the Pokemon League exists there, and they're not letting anybody come to challenge them.
Yeah, like let's say
somebody goes to Nintendo, they're like, Nintendo, you created this game. Yes, well, you created the game, but once we let it out, it's in the hands of the world now.
It's fucking Ken Watanabe from Godzilla. It's in there. Just look it out like, there's nothing we can do. It's become its own entity. Looking out the window. Let them fight.
It's all we have. We must send this 9-year-old boy to ISIS. It's the only way to defeat them.
This is our last hope, Liker. All right, Jimmy, you ready to go? I'm ready to be the world's number one Pokemon master. Okay. 20 minutes later, just a video of this kid on YouTube getting like his head lopped off. Oh, that didn't work out. Okay, we thought there'd be some code of honor. Not the case.
He's like, you said, and he just looks on the camera. He's like, you send this 9-year-old child, and you call him the champion of your country.
Something happened?
No, I had a handle lighter over. He's like, you called him the champion of your country. This is pathetic. We expect more from you, America.
Oh my! Like,
there's some military branch of like we gotta train some renegade Pokemon masters to go inside there, deep undercover.
We get some guy that's like been in like fucking lockdown. Like he's like, he used to be Marines, SOCOM, used to do all this shit, but now it's like he killed too many of his own officers on a mission. His own superior officer because he didn't agree with the mission. But he's the only one we could get now. He's some
the
guy.
Best we got.
Yeah, he's just sitting there playing a brick Game Boy. Like, why'd you come here? There's something only you can do.
It's like he comes out. He's like, yeah, this is all they gave me down here. You know, I've been playing Pokemon Red and Blue over and over and over again. It's like, we need to send you in. We're the best that you got.
They're like, oh my god, these are the American versions. How'd you get Mew? I'm just that good.
You know that truck that they always said you could push there? Well, if you stand there for 40 hours pushing it, it eventually moves.
What's my mission? What am I doing?
We got Shigeru Miyamoto here, and the whole team of Game Freak to help explain it all to you.
You should know. I killed my last officer. He wanted me to bomb a whole village. I said, how about I just bomb you instead?
So I did, and saved a bunch of innocent children. Because you know what? An orphanages don't deserve to die just to find some terrorist leader.
All right, well, we need you to go in and play some Pokemon. Like, it's what I do best, aside from killing. Like, all right.
Okay.
Here you go.
Well, you might need to kill too. We don't know. Our last little boy didn't seem to make it so well. He really thought he was all the hope that was left. You can't send a boy in to do a man's job.
Like, they hand him a smartphone. What the fuck is this? It's a smartphone. Don't look so smart to me.
Just got all these like clippy one-liners.
They have to teach him. They take him like a week through basic training of how to use a smartphone, and then how to play the game. Using his masterful like Marine skills, he has to break into the ISIS base, go in there, just like, I didn't come here to kill you. I came here to challenge you. What would be this guy's team? His 6-member team. Who would it be?
His team is. He wouldn't need a team. This is a solo man operation, Well, his Pokemon team?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So he would have. I imagine this is going to seem like a weird one. Nidoking. I imagine having Nidoking.
I think that'd be a good one. I think he'd probably have something like
Charizard kind of guy.
Yeah, he'd have to have one of the main ones, Because the one thing about Pokemon is sometimes the ones that always seem sort of like, the basic generic ones, like, well, that seems like what everybody picked. It's like, yeah, well, that's because They're like the best no matter what. It's like Charizard. You can never go wrong with Charizard.
I mean, he has. I mean, it's
You'd
one
have
of
to
those
have like a
things, like,
Gyarados. I think you'd have a Gyarados as well.
you'd have Gyarados, so we have Charizard, Nidoking. That's half of it.
Maybe a
Maybe
Zapdos for his electric Pokemon and a bird
I was
Pokemon.
thinking maybe what a Dragonite? What about a Dragonite
That'd be pretty cool.
instead of Zapdos?
You know, Dragonite's not like. Well, I guess he's got some electric moves, but
Well, yeah, okay. Well, All right, Dragonite could be his other one. He had Zapdos, and then what's his number 6? His number 6 could be a.
I like we picked like all Pokemon from like the original game. It's like, but
That's all I give a fuck about. That's all
he's like, that's all I know. I don't know any of the other new ones.
What if he just a random one like an Oddish?
He's like, me and Otters go way back. Or Mr. Mime. It's like, Mr. Mime, you know, when you're in prison or when you're locked down, sometimes he's the only kind of friend you can have.
The kind that's silent. Like he's silent, but he's deadly as fuck.
That's his main Pokemon. He doesn't fuck the other ones. That's actually all he has. He just is him and Mr. Mime. It's like, are you sure we can send this guy in? Are you sure he's not just a little bit off? It's like, no. He knows what he's doing. Him, Mr. Mime. Nobody uses Mr. Mime. He's the only guy who's mastered Mr. Mime.
or Polygon, some shit like that.
Mr. Mime, him and Mr. Mime, they've been prison buddies for years. They've gone through everything together.
He has Mew and he has Mewtwo. He just chooses not to use them. That says
you use Mewtwo. It's just not a challenge. Might as well just waltz in there with a nuclear bomb. It's the same thing. When you go in there with Mr. Mime, it's like going in there sort of with yourself and your mind all together as one. Like, that doesn't really make too much sense. He's like, no. It's what it is. It's the ancient way. If you guys would know how the ancient way worked and spend some time alone. Training is mime. It's ancient lost art taken over by clowning.
He just pulls out these ancient scrolls. You see
scroll,
pen. Yeah, I see like these like
almost like martial arts looking like poses, but just mimes.
Like mimes, like mime poses, like fighting against clowns. Their time will come again, the time of the mime.
The mimes have, you might just look at them like they're playing around, acting like there's an invisible wall around them. But they can create that wall. If you can generate it, you will have the power.
So after he defeats the leader of ISIS through his badass Pokemon team, he then literally says I can't move. That's the power of the mime.
He's got him sealed up in a box and drags him back in. Mr. Mime's like over his shoulder, dragging him back in, like he's in a bag or something like that, like an invisible bag.
Call SEAL Team 6. I got him.
There you go. You gonna let me free? Let me roam the world? I just always wanted to open up a Pokemon breeding center, something nice where I could take care of others' Pokemon.
You do realize that it's not real. That was all on a smartphone.
No, it's all real. I saw it through my Google glasses. I saw it all. I'm not taking these things off. I know the future. I know what's going on. You've given me the key to destiny here. Let me. Don't take this away from me. It's all I ask. I don't need money. I don't need fame. I just want to breed Pokemon.
They just shoot him in the back of the head.
I'm like, okay, eyes us out of the way. Another crazy down.
They shoot him in the back of the head, like...
The bullet reflects off. He's like, you forgot. I was a mime once.
I was going to say they bury him like the world can never know. Bury him like he was one of our own.
The bullet reflects off him. He's like, you have angered the mime spirit. Now it is time for the rise of the mimes.
Everybody, all the U.S. generals, they're just their necks tighten. He pulls his hands down like he's lifting a bunch of nooses. They all rise, like blood shoots out.
Like he's got the Force or something like that too. Kind of like that mission in where you pull down that Star Wars game when you pull down the whole
the Star
Destroyer. Yeah, just like that.
Jedi's just mimes. They're just the ultimate mimes when it gets down to it.
It really is. That's what it is. So that's pretty much what he's come. He's like, okay, Mr. Mime, we said we weren't going to kill again, but I don't think we have time for that yet. Soon, puts his hand on his shoulder, soon, we'll have that Pokemon breeding center that we've always wanted to, where we can take care of others. But today's not the day.
So now it's like the fugitive. After he like stopped ISIS and killed a couple of U.S. generals, again he's back on the run. He's just trying to start up a breeding center for Pokemon,
That's all they want.
digital breeding center.
Well,
So
he
people
doesn't
see
know
him
the
turn
difference.
every once in a while and talk to this character named Mr. Mime, but they're not aware that he's like talking to a little thing on his Google Glass that only he can see. Like no one else has Google Glass. So like, what the fuck's this thing? What's this guy doing?
At some point, somebody like destroys their Google Glass. Like, we've destroyed your Google Glass, and now you'll know that it's just a fake reality that you created. And he's just like, but as a mime, I don't need Google Glass because it's already there.
Nobody saw
strokes
it.
his eyes. It's just there. It's just like, I still see all. I don't
He's
need
like, the
Google
time
Glass.
of the mime is upon us. And then like, oh, like once again, everybody's throat net like necks in the room just snap, just all fall down dead.
I can't wait for this Pokemon Go to come out. I think there's just gonna be like a great world that we will see into this. Sometimes you get to that point in life where you're like, is there really much more to look forward to? I mean, yeah, there'll always be that next movie and there'll always be that next game, but will there be something that'll be so groundbreaking, so changing of life that next thing you know, in like the next year, life will not be the exact same as it once was.
If you download the app, that is.
Yeah, or as long as you know, you don't own a
You
Windows
gotta,
phone.
you got an Apple or an Android.
It makes you kind of wonder because like once you make a game like this, what's next? Are you gonna have like is it like since Microsoft's like, hey, since you guys just like fucked us over, we're not gonna put it on our Windows phone. Like, guess what? We're gonna make the Halo like fucking go around, so people are just running around shooting each other.
It's only a matter of time. I mean, this is kind of where they take the next step. I think this game is like, if done right, I think this game, like all mime murder aside, I think this actually could be pretty cool and actually could lead to like a big next step in gaming right here.
Well, it feels like this if you kind of combine something like this, and it reminds you sort of in the same way that like you got the Oculus Rift and virtual reality coming back. The combo of these two kind of technologies together could create it where you literally have where you're out in the world, but it's not like, virtual reality, you kind of like strap yourself in. It's almost like the ultimate TV. Where
Mhm.
this is like the exact opposite, where it's like, okay, now you kind of like, you use sort of this handheld TV to view the world around you and see things that aren't actually there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've already got little hints of it. We've seen like slowly it kind of come back, but I think this might be the first thing to really utilize it. Because I seen screenshots of the game where it just looked like a blank generic background with a Pokeball flying towards a Pikachu or a Charizard or whatever. But I think that this really could be the like if they do the thing we were talking about earlier, where it's a 3D model. And granted, I know it's gonna be limited; it can't do everything. It's gonna be a 3D model
Yeah.
of a character. Um, I think it's at least the push in the right direction, and I think in time this probably could push to something you're saying, like maybe kind of like an online, like maybe not Halo exactly, but something kind of like that. Where you're playing this game in the real world. But now I'm wondering. I'm not saying that like there's a reason to stop it. There are going to be a couple of idiots that are driving like, why just get in this car crash? Well, I was really trying to catch the Stratini.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, this Dratini crossed the road.
Something they're probably going to do if they're smart. What they're going to hopefully do is like try and have it in areas where there are no roads.
Yeah, that's gonna be so hard to do because like perfect
You have a
example, like
stupid little kid like
it won't.
holding up,
Then
holding
it
up his
wouldn't really
mom's
work in
phone,
somewhere like
running
San
into
Francisco. You know what I mean? Because you'd have roads everywhere.
I guess you'd have to do it like somewhere like I'm guessing it's one of those things you probably can't see it unless you're like literally within like a walking radius of it. Within like that's my guess. Unless you're like at a 10-foot radius, you probably can't see it. And I'm guessing they're probably in certain areas. Like maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe there will be one just running around, and maybe there will be like a Meowth running around in the middle of the Tenderloin or something. But I'm guessing it's more going to be like you'd probably see them like in Golden Gate Park. I'm just taking what I know here. Golden Gate Park, maybe the more like parts of the Presidio where it's just out in the grass or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that. And you can't, I'm guessing you can't like, so that to avoid things like someone like wandering into the street with holding a phone, I'm guessing they're probably going to have something where you have to be in a certain radius. And once you are in that certain radius, you have to tap to engage, and that way you don't have to run or follow it around no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, something like
That's just
that.
all. That's all guessing. I have no idea. I did not look at anything more than the trailer. I know they have this whole press conference on it, but I've only looked at the trailer. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's one of those ones like that's probably the hardest thing is trying to figure out like the safety parameters of how this thing will work. Because once you
Mhm.
figure that section out, then I think you'll be fine. I just hope that the thing is, I hope it's not just one of those ones where it's one of those kind of games you go around like, okay, you can what can you do? Well, you can capture Pokemon, you can trade Pokemon, and you can fight Pokemon with people next to you. I hopefully hope that they actually put almost a game into it. You know what I mean? Not just
A
sort of like,
story.
yeah, well, not necessarily a story. Like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. But I mean, like something where like these
You
people
can battle.
can actually be gym leaders and so on, and these people can be like advanced level trainers, and you can go to certain events and actually have it be a lot of stuff going on. And maybe it's one of those ones where like they release it and they can just keep updating it over time and putting these things into it.
That's
But
what they're gonna do.
I just hope it's not just kind of like because a lot of those cell phone games, it's like they are just kind of like you do the same thing over and over again. Like okay,
I imagine this being something kind of like an MMO where it's just here's the tools, go do whatever you want with it. And in time, you could probably maybe build like groups or guilds or something like that. Because they have the whole part where you see a couple like skater guys react, like see a couple of girls, like, what I gotta do to get your number? You like, you Pokemon battle us. And they don't say that. They just playing inspirational music. But that's kind of what it looks like.
yeah,
So, and the girls beat the guys. And it's I could see it being something kind of like that where you can join groups or whatever, and maybe there is kind of like one like computer generated like, okay, here, I mean, I'm wondering if they are going to go to the lengths of having you want to go to the Cerulean Gym? We'll go all the way to Seattle, or you want to you want to go to Viridian City? Go all the way to fucking New York. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna have people do anything to that effect, but they might.
yeah. They kind of. I think it's one of those ones. What they should do is kind of keep it like if they do things like that, just keep it all like in like your area in a sense.
Like
But
this is like the Cerule, like like a CPU. Like, all right, this area is your little like Cerulean Gym area. This area is your Firetown area, whatever that was called, Cinnabar Island. Yeah.
yeah,
Um, so I could see that. I mean, that'd be cool. I mean, what I imagine it being. This is just me. I imagine it. You kind of go out, you level out, you grind on just fighting ones in the wild, and then fighting who's ever in the area. And then there's probably like some kind of CPU board where you can just go battle them whenever you're ready.
yeah. That probably the thing to do is like you just kind of like you maybe like in a sense you like log onto the network as in the in-game thing, and on the Pokemon Network is where you can battle. Just all maybe just take Pokemon leaders from like all the games together and you just battle each one and collect all the different badges. So then it gives you like 50 badges you can get or something like that, and that's kind of how that works.
I could see it being something like I just got the image of like of like somebody going and like going down to like the fucking like I'm just sticking what I know. Going down to the Presidio, just like Yuppie wants to fight.
Yeah. Well, that's how the game should totally be like that. Like everybody should have fucking like you choose like a class of who you want to be. So they once again take all those people. Like you can be hiker, you can be yeah yuppie, you can
Yuppie
be like
used Yuppie sent
juggler,
out Clefairy.
you can be scientist. Like they got all those.
Yuppie sent out Farfetch. I'm just thinking of like what are the Yuppie Pokemon?
Just like all these ones. But that's how it should be. Is like you get to choose like a kind of a class, and that's who you are. Like Skater Boy, Tom sends out Jigglypuff. It's like Jigglypuff. Oh, yeah. What's wrong with Jigglypuff?
Like Hipster Dave sent out like Hipster Dave sent out Electabuzz.
But that's how it should be. Everybody should be able to like you put your name in there. You just have like your first name or something like that, and then you should have like whatever like who you are.
What would Hipster Dave have? Hipster Dave wouldn't send out Electabuzz. Electabuzz sounds more like Weightlifter Tom.
Yeah, weightlifter Tom or like lumberjack Bill.
Lumberjack Bill. Hipster Dave would have like he would have something sort of like I imagine like Pidgeotto. Yeah,
Yeah, it'd be
Pidgeotto.
like he would have something that'd be like in the newest game because he'd be like, I don't play with older Pokemon, so it has to be something new.
No, I see him. Well, maybe. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, I think they're just sticking with the original 150, and they're probably gonna go on from there.
I
And I
bet you.
think
I
that's.
bet you'll have all the. I bet you'll have all of them in it. It probably won't just be the original 150. I bet you'll have all
I'm
700
gonna.
and something.
I think it's gonna work its way up to that. I think they're starting with the 150 because if you look at the trailer,
Well, the trailer just
everybody
showed those ones, but that's just a trailer.
they showed the original 50, and I think they're kind of showing what most of the fan bases for that would, because most of the people in that trailer, that's like they're roughly our age, and that was like the fan basis for that is like 150. So I can see them going on. I do believe. See, sorry, I can't talk right now. I do see them going on. I don't think they're going to start off at 700. I think they're going to try and keep it manageable. They're going to see how this thing goes. They probably don't want to put all this time and marketing and money into all this stuff all at once. They're probably going to try and build a foundation, start with what people know, and then build up from there.
Yeah, they might do something like that, but then not like be that hard to throw all of them in there at once, or
No,
even
I
like
get it.
half of them in there. Like I bet
But
you,
each one has
I
to
bet
have
you gold and
programming.
silver Pokemon will be there at the beginning too.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. The 150 is the only ones I really care about so much. I mean, I played Black, and Black was fun, but still, at the end of the day, I was like, I really like the original 150. So
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones in there. I'm not against any of the newer Pokemon. There's some of them that are always kind of fucking weird, but
I just don't know. Just like there's a sword one. Did I ever show you that one video? Where it's like, what will Pokemon be like in 10 years? Like this one's a dick type, or this one's a gun. Did you
well,
see
it was like
that?
this one's a chair or something.
No, there's one who just like, all right, you pick your Pokemon, Billy. He's like some dumb little fat Pokemon trainer kid. He says, ooh, he's like actually Ross, not Rubber Ninja, like one of the guys on Game Grumps. And he's like, I picked this one. He's like, you picked Bang Bang. That's a gun. It's like Bang Bang. And then he's just like running through the woods, just like shooting other Pokemon.
No, it is that one where it
Like,
gets to a point where it's just like, oh, okay, they sort of like mix and match some weird things together, but
he goes like a gym says like dick type, and he's just like, you think you gotta earn this, or something, a dick badge. It's like, I choose Weenie Puss, like Weenie Puss. It looks like a fucking like gooch, is what it fucking looks like. And then like he says, go bang bang. Just soon as the gun like slams to the ground, he just shoots Weenie Puss in the head. He says, Jesus Christ, get the fuck out! All right, just take the fucking badge, just fucking go.
uh, I don't know. Pokemon Go. I hopefully hope it just lives up to being like as cool as it should be. You know, and I'm not gonna expect that like maybe day one, but because it sounds like a really sweet idea of doing something completely different. I mean, there's little steps that build up to this. It's not like it just popped out of nowhere. But I think this is like the perfect area to jump onto it and make this real sweet title out of it. But I don't know. Only one way to find out. It's not that far away. Strange enough, this game comes out sooner than a lot of other games that have been announced for a lot longer.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping there's just not a bunch of micromanaging you got to do. I could see possible micromanaging. Oh, you got to buy more Pokeball. Not microtransactions
It
to
sounds like
buy.
it has that in there because it's going to be a free game. Whenever you hear the word free, that means you're going to have to spend money at some point.
So probably, hopefully, it's one of those things like you don't got to spend money to buy more Pokeballs or something like
I
that. So,
bet you anything that's what it's going to be. Though. I bet you it's one of those ones like, each day you get 5 Pokeballs, but if you want more Pokeballs, you got to
but
pay.
you can't let them stack up. You can't let them stack up over the day. So you have a five. That you have to use them that day. Otherwise, you don't get them.
Because that's the only downfall of some of those like phone games too is they kind of if you don't spend money, you can only play the game for like 10 minutes at a time, and then you got to like set it down, and then wait another 5 or a couple hours and come back to it and do it again. I hopefully hope this one's not like that, where it's like, oh okay, well you spent your 5 Pokeballs and you didn't capture, or they do the thing where it's like, okay, you like just about to capture a Pokemon, and it's like, well you're out of Pokeballs. If you spend $20 though, you can get some more. If not, you can just let it
I
run
could see
away.
that.
I bet you it'll be
Yeah,
like that. That's
too
the
good
only
to be true. Yeah,
it's like, and to me, it's like I'm one of those kind of people like I would rather just spend $50 on a game and have it never fuck me over like that later on.
that's how I feel too.
I don't mind pay. I don't mind paying for a video game. I know that like I think those free to play games like they work really well on people who normally don't play. Like not like they don't like video games, but they're kind of people. We all know those people out there who won't spend money on a video game, even if they have copious amounts of money, just for some reason they just won't spend it on it. So I think those
Mhm.
free to play games, it's like it entices those people because you're like you're a cheap bastard. Well, here you go. Here's a game that's free to play. And then we'll
I
try.
can understand how it starts off with something kind of like so small because I don't really play any of those games. I don't have any. Actually, I don't have any games on my phone. But I don't know. I'm not really big on like downloadable games for the phone, just because I don't know. I'm not trying to sound condescending or an
I play
elitist
real
here.
games.
Yeah, I play. I've been playing real games since I was a kid, so it seems like I can see how something like Angry Birds or whatever can be fun and addictive, but I really don't see once you've been playing real games the whole time or something. I mean, not real. I feel like a
No,
dick
they
saying
literally are. No, no, no. I think it is a real game because the games on phones, generally, I don't consider them like actual video games. They're almost more like what the word term games means, like oh, it's fun. Where I think video games on like consoles nowadays, like almost video games isn't the right word for them anymore. It's like they
yeah.
almost need a slightly different title. I'm not opposed to the word video games, but just in general, they're not games anymore. They're more like life experiences that happen on a digital world. They're almost up to the point where that's sort of that saying where it's like they're not movies, they're films. Except for that always
Mhm.
just sounds like such a douchey thing. I'm like, no, 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 they're movies.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things where, and I think if you don't play a whole lot of them, if you don't play a lot of video games, something kind of like, I guess, because I never played it, because A, it doesn't look fun to me. B, I just hear like horrible things the company's done. That there's that Candy Crush game. Like they have so many microtransactions within that game. And I guess if you don't play a whole lot of video games, it's easy to kind of let those slide by and sneak up on you.
Yeah, well, I think too is like those games they get like almost kids to go like, hey, Billy, you want 100,000 points, don't you? Well, pay $100. You know, your parents' credit card's hooked up to this game. It's okay. They won't notice, and that happens a lot. I think.
Yeah, yeah. So, because usually it's something to the effect of like, oh yeah, here I got some games so my kid can play. So they just give it to the kid to kill like 10 minutes of boredom, and the kid ends up like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care, it's not my money. Boom, yeah.
Yeah, because really, like on phones, the only games I've ever played on it is like I have like the Sonic
Sonic
the
Runners.
Hedgehog ones on there because they had a sale once, and it was like all of them are like 99 cents, and I was like, oh hell yeah. So I bought them all, and so something like that. It's like it's because it's nice to have a couple games on a phone because you never know when you just get that point where you're like, well, I'm stuck here at like have to wait an hour, and it's like, oh yeah, I can play some Sonic 2 or something like that. But the only like phone game because I don't consider that a phone game because that's just like it's like an emulator practically.
Hmm.
Um, and plus the cool thing about those Sonic ones is they're like updated versions. They got a bunch of extra bonus features, but the only one I really ever played was like the Jurassic Park one, where like you build the park builder
Jurassic
thing.
Park, like the like it's like Sims, but it's
Yeah,
like
it's like Sim City or something like that, but you build those. And that one, and I had all the tropes of what like a phone game is, so it kind of like taught me everything at once. And technically, I was only playing that one as like it would give me time to kill when I was. It's like it's never like something I'd play at home, and it was never something. It was just because like oh I got this tablet right here. Okay, whip out Jurassic Park, and it was a couple.
Cisco was addicted to that game for a little while. I don't know if he was
He played
spending
it for
money
like
on the
over.
extra stuff.
He played it for like over a year. I played it for
I
like
remember
two months,
he
and it
def
was just because where I was at, it was kind of like the only thing to do, sort of. So it was just like, okay, play the Jurassic Park
he
game.
had he had it like to where it was like he had to turn the volume off because it would just be a bunch of all at once. So
Oh,
you
that's what it sounds
literally
like because you're like make me money, dinosaurs, and you just like start clicking on them and everything. And okay, that one's one of those ones like okay, it had Jurassic Park licensing in it, so it was like okay, that's kind of cool, But it's like those kind of games though, and those are the ones that like sell more than anything else. It's the one of those ones where like you can only play it for 10 minutes at a crack. Like that's what you do. You'd go in there, you'd collect all your money from your dinosaur. You'd might be able to buy one other thing, complete one little mission by buying something, whatever, and then you have to wait again because then they have to build up. So it's one of those games
would
that's
you
meant to come back to like every 3 hours or so, give or take.
we'll wrap this up pretty quickly, but would you have to like could the dinosaurs ever break out and cause like mass panic or anything like that and have like lawsuits happen?
They would have this thing where it's like they'd break out and then you'd have to go. It's like, oh, okay, you got a minute, and you just gotta like tap the living daylights out of the screen, like click, 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 and pretty much you'd get a bunch of money that way. And the worst thing that would happen is if the dinosaur did break out, he just wouldn't be there for like a day or two or something like that. Like, where'd he
Oh, I
go?
thought
He's
it'd be
like,
like
oh, he
something.
took a fucking vacation to the Bahamas for like 2 weeks. But that's all it would be. So you couldn't collect money from him for like
I thought to
that
be
time.
some more of like a impact of that, like, oh yeah, you lost a bunch of money because he killed and ate a family, so there's a lawsuit, this and that. I assumed to be something kind of like, or it'd scare off tourism, but that to hear it's just something kind of like, oh yeah, he's just not there for a while. He just escaped. It's an island. Where the fuck did he go? Ah, he's resourceful.
Well, it's one of those ones like because you know it's been a while since I played one of those kind of like sim like games, and there was a time period. I think it was the same. era is like real-time strategy games, that those things were just, they were such fantastic PC games. And nowadays it's kind of like real-time strategy. It's like, okay, Red Alert 3 was the last one I really played and really enjoyed. And I don't know what it was. It's like once the graphics switched from 2D to 3D, it was almost like the charm sort of went away. And I felt the same way with those kind of like SimCity-like games. The second that it came all 3D-like, it was just like, well, the charm's not there. You know, other good games was like Roller Coaster Tycoon and so on. But what made those games always so cool, it was always like all the small things, that, like all the little details you could, that made you feel like you were actually running a real business. Where that one, like the Jurassic Park one, like it's fun, but it's kind of like, you know, it's like the light version of all that stuff. You know, you feel like you're almost playing the demo of what it should be. Because they did make that Jurassic Park game, Operation Genesis, in like 2003 or something like that. You could play it on PC and PS2 and Xbox, and it was one of the most expensive games in the long run. But that one was kind of cool because, you know, you built up your park and everything like that. And I think you could charge, you know, you manage your admissions and things like that and take out loans and everything you need to do. And if the dinosaurs broke out, you'd get into like a helicopter and you have to go chase them down and so on. And
Really?
like, yeah, and put them back to sleep and then drag them back in and so on. And yeah, it had a lot more going on towards it. So this one, as I said, kind of felt like the light version compared to that. But the cool thing about that Jurassic Park game, though, is they did have this thing. They had like this. They literally made it like Pokemon Stadium. So you'd get your dinosaurs and you would just fight like other dinosaurs and work your way up through like this, just like Pokemon Stadium, like you're going to the Elite Four, and you have to keep battling dinosaurs. And then you could go into tournaments and battle other people and just fucking like rape the shit out of their dinosaur, just like bam, 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 like yeah, my dinosaur's fucking better than your dinosaur. But then they had this thing where you had to get these teeth to build up your special move because the special move is always there, but it'd take forever to like earn it up, so you'd have to just keep battling over and over. And then they'd always do that thing where it's like, well, you could throw down $10, you know, it's just $10, you know. You probably made $10 in an hour if I'm, you know, not mistaken. It's like, don't talk to me like that. Well, we're just saying, you know, it's just $10. I mean, like, you know, I spent $20 the other day, you know, on something stupid. I mean, it's a game. It's something you should be spending money on.
It's important.
You know, I'm Mr. You know, like, it's like, why is this computer talking to me like he's like my best friend? He's like, well, I am. I mean, you hold me every day. It's like, oh, whoa, that sounds creepy. Don't talk to me like that. Well, you look me directly in the eye.
You stare at me. You look at me.
Hell, you get naked in front of me. You know,
you jerked off while I was there. You're looking at me while you jerked off. It's like, okay, my computer, my iPod, my iPhone knows too much.
I'm just saying, you know, really, if you break it down, I'm the best fucking friend you got. So what? You don't got $10 now? Is that what it is? You cheaping it out?
If your iPhone could talk to you. You take me everywhere. You always look at me. You always touch me. You've jerked off while holding me.
Hell, some of you people put me in your fucking ass pocket, so come on.
Yeah, I know more about you than anybody. Just like, oh, Jesus.
Why'd you start to sound like Freddy Krueger? I don't know. Don't ask those questions. But it is that sort of thing. It's just like, I just hope with the Pokemon game, it's not that. I hopefully hope that it's you know, we're getting like the full Pokemon game and not the light version of Pokemon. I mean, realistically, it'll probably be the light version of Pokemon. I bet you it won't be as in depth as say a Pokemon X or Y. It'll probably be
like Red and Blue.
It might be something. No, it probably won't even be like that.
I imagine it being is like, well, because Red and Blue didn't really have a whole lot of story. Red and Blue was pretty cut and dry, pretty bare bones.
Well, I mean, like what I'm saying is like, it's not going to be like a hardcore gamers game. It's going to be more like, hey, like, and the sort of Nintendo's been bad about doing this. I mean, I think it works out for them, but as the fans, they kind of go like, hey guys, remember when you used to play Super Mario Brothers? I think that what this game's going to be is like, hey guys, remember when you used to play Pokemon? How much fun you had? And then like they'll be like, yeah, I did have a lot of fun with Pokemon in like 1998 and 99. Like, yeah, well, come on back. You know, we got a game. You know, it's going to be real simple, real easy to get into. You know, and I think it's like that. And it's going to be kind of like, for everybody who's like, hey, I've been playing Pokemon since 1998. Still playing in 2015. What about us? Yeah, we don't really give a fuck about you guys.
Well, there is one of those things, because Pokemon is one of those things, like, I don't really know all the details exactly, but apparently it's mechanics. Someone said once that, I don't know how much they're trying to oversell it, but I could say, like, there's some people that kind of like looked at the mechanics of how the game works and the patterns of how the attacks work and the percentage. And they say it's almost kind of like that math that Matt Damon is doing in Good Will Hunting. It's that the pattern is to that level. So if you understand that kind of shit, if like you're a mathematician, the game makes it's like you can read it like a code, and it's just easiest thing in the world. So you get certain people that like they're not really. I mean, maybe they are fans of the characters or whatever, but they just kind of see how to play the game, so they just use that to their advantage. So they always go to these like they go to like these competitions and always win because they know exactly how to like work the game that way.
It's like those card counters in Vegas and all that stuff.
Yeah, the
There's always a
card
way
counters.
you can kind of break the system no
Mhm.
matter what. And that's that thing where they came to the conclusion there's like, there's just certain Pokemon that are just not up to par to other ones. Like no matter what. That's why Charizard, because like the way he's built, he's always built much stronger than everybody else out there. Even the other three, he's always going to be stronger than Venusaur and Blastoise. It's just that's
Well,
how they've designed him.
even Death Battles though. Do you know what Death Battles is?
No.
Death Battles. All right, you've seen that show like Deadliest Warrior and all that.
Is that one on the history? I've never seen it, but that one on the History Channel.
Yeah. So what they do is
They're like
here's
a
what
samurai and a gunslinger are gonna go
kind of
out.
like yeah, and they break down. They bring in like air quotes experts of
Yeah, like
these like different like they like test it on a dummy and this and that. And the concept of the show is cool, but there'd be like this all this aggravate. There'd be all this like tension between the two because there's the guys who are always in the show. There's the host, there's the mediators, and then to be like, and then like, okay, now with this episode we got the Yakuza versus the mob man, So they bring in like Yakuza experts, like, all right, man, so we're gonna show you how we do that, I'm like, they'll be using like nunchucks like on a dummy, and then all of a sudden the mob guy, like some old guy, because it's always be a young guy and old guy. The old guy's like, oh yeah, it looks really nice and really pretty, but I'm pretty sure a spike to the head can get it done a lot quicker. Oh, we'll see how when it goes through your face, man. We'll see how this goes. So it's like they kind of force in like some of that kind of shit. It got silly and kind of stupid, but I mean, then they have a reenactment at the end of the episode where it'd be like maybe one-on-one or it'd be like a team of this versus a team of that. And as interesting as it was, there would be a little bit of like bullshit. Why the fuck would he said, you can't help but get that. In Death
yeah,
Battle, what they do is they take a lot of like, characters from geek culture. So be like, okay, Spider-Man versus Batman, Superman versus Goku. Just they go down the line like
yeah.
Pikachu. This is a weird one. Pikachu versus Blanca. So they just kind
I
of
guess
go
both
down.
electric types.
That's what I thought of. Even though I am more of a Street Fighter fan, I kind of was hoping Pikachu would win just because I would feel it's hard watching this big green monster just rip him literally in half. It's hard to watch, but anyway, even though I like Blanca more, I still just kind of wanted Pikachu to win, which he didn't. Whatever. But they had a special that was like all three of like Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur going at it.
Hmm.
Blastoise won.
Yeah, but like, I don't think technically in Pokemon like that's how it works though. I think that's
Yeah,
obviously a show,
and
but
but they really break. I know, but I think that they almost do it just for the sake of like stirring up controversy to get reviews and to get kind of like comments and all that. Because the whole Spider-Man versus Batman, like Spider-Man won. So, and that's one of those things like in the heat of the moment, you're kind of like, fuck you, that's bullshit. And you think about it like, well, you can kind of like debate anything in that
yeah,
context, really. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, whatever. It's probably just something. But Batman versus Captain America, Batman won. But that's one or either one, like, even though I like Batman more, like Captain America won, I wouldn't have been mad. I would have understood.
no, yeah. Those are always those kind of shows like that. Like, I'm not saying there's anything really against making like that. They always feel like I consider those like cheater shows. Like people make that stuff because they know it's instantly going to get views. It's not because you have something really like, it's not like you had like some talented show that you worked on or something like that. It's just like that's such an easy one. Just be like, okay, Goku versus Superman, slap that together, instant views.
I think though watching it actually is kind of interesting because what they do is they will break it down to a level and they will put like it is one of those shows. I will say it is. I mean, I don't watch it all the time. There's some episodes I miss, but it is one of those ones where they will break it down to like a level you wouldn't think about and do measurements to a level you wouldn't think about. And they do have like they will use like so if they're talking about like there's one that was like Knuckles versus Donkey Kong, which is one of the more recent ones. And
Mm-hmm.
they did not only just like take footage from the video games, they took footage like because they are fans of what they're talking about. They literally took footage from the old horrible, horrible Donkey Kong CG show. They took footage from as far for Knuckles. They took
Was that show
I
horrible? I
remember it
don't
being
remember
really
being that
bad
bad.
looking back at it because they would suddenly break into song and dance and Donkey Kong.
Like I remember as a kid just
Oh, I don't
enjoying
remember.
that
I
show.
just remember watching it because I remember it was, it was kind of a Super Friends thing where it's bad, but it was Nintendo, so it's just kind of like, well, I'll take it. It's kind of like Super Friends, kind of like, it's bad, but it's more Batman and Superman. So okay, I remember it being kind of like that. Like, how many Donkey Kong shows do you get? So I just remember just taking it, but they even take footage from that, which is something a lot of people forgot about. They even took when they talk about Knuckles, they took some footage from Sonic Underground from the 2 episodes he was in. So it's one of those things where
Huh.
they did do their research, and they then when they reenact the battles, it's usually, sometimes it's depending on what the characters are, it's full like 3D like models of the characters reenacting, or it's something to the effect of like 16-bit versions, like the Sonic versus Mario. It's like 16-bit kind of battles.
So they're making a lot
It's
of
a good
money, is what you're
show.
saying.
I'd say check out a few of them. It's like one of those ones that is just kind of like it. I guess you could say it's somewhat pandering, but I mean, I can't blame them for trying to make some money. And if you could see they do care and they do
No.
like what they're making. They get some weird mix-ups that, like, when you think it sounds weird at first, but when you think about it, it makes sense. Like they had Kirby versus Majin Buu. Kirby won. They had two Superman versus
Mhm.
Batmans. Superman won both of them. Not Superman versus Batman. Superman versus Goku. Superman won both of them. They had like
I'm actually kind of surprised there. Like once again, like don't get me wrong, I like both those characters. It's always weird to see like they'd never fight each other, but you almost feel like Goku would be stronger than Superman. Because the one thing that I guess the difference between Superman and Goku is like you don't see a progression of Superman like gaining more and more strength over time. Where Goku you do. That's like sort of the. That's almost what makes it different. That's if you think about it, it's the one thing you don't see a whole lot in actually like superhero stuff is a progression of them gaining like power
mhm.
and strength like you do, sort of in like Dragon Ball Z or other
They
martial arts
said
things
that the
like
thing
that.
about that is that Superman is then they kind of, even after Superman wins, it's not like Superman won. Why? Because Goku's a fucking bitch. They don't do it like that. They actually still, because the Superman Goku ones, those are always big, long ones. They're usually like little 5-minute fights. Those ones are like full on 10, 15-minute battles. They make a big deal out of them. But they kind of said something to the effect of, it's just like what makes Goku such a good character is he always finds he Goku actually has limits. He keeps on going and he finds a way to overcome those limits, but he eventually has a limit he has to reach. Where Superman doesn't have a limit. Superman is there's like, he's just next.
I guess it just
It
depends on like
depends,
who's
yeah.
writing Superman. Like in the old, because like in olden timey Superman's, it's like he doesn't really have those limits. Where it's just like I feel like I'm gonna go back in time today. He just goes fast
Mhm.
enough to go back in there. But it feels like in the last like 20, 30 years, since about like the late '80s or so, I'll say probably since the Man of Steel
Mhm.
1985 one when that came out. That from that point on though, that feels like where they've made Superman like okay, yes, he's powerful and he's got all these abilities, but he can't just jump back in time whenever he feels like it, or he isn't the fastest out there. The Flash is faster, and he might not even be the strongest one out there. He's like Mario in Mario
Yeah.
Kart. He's just well
No,
rounded.
well they
That's how I think of Superman nowadays. I just think of him as like being well rounded. Is he the smartest? No. Is he maybe the fastest? No. Is he like that? But he's got all these abilities that
Yeah,
kind of
and
circle
that's
around.
they break it down, and they even said like, so if you're gonna talk about, well, what about this one time or this one like guy got a rocket kryptonite and just beat him up easily, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about some obscure moment like this. We're talking about, they break it down. I want to say watch a few of them because they are kind of interesting. One or two of them might make you a little mad, and it's not like he flat out beats Goku like a bitch. Goku gives him a fight. But well, I'm gonna say check out the show when you can. It's not like there are every once in a while there'll be 1 or 2 episodes like, whatever, and one of the announcers can be kind of annoying, but check it out. It's kind of interesting. It's death battles, and you'll see like a couple of I mean, careful where you type that. You might get like underground death battles like somewhere like in Mexico,
Yeah,
like, but
no. Well, if you're typing it on YouTube, hopefully there'll be a safe filter of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like death battle snuff film, some shit like that. No. So yeah, look up for like, like just type in death battles and then type in like, a soup like a character you like, something will pop up.
I think I see those things always come up on like the red lighted videos, and I don't know what it is. It's one of those ones like I'm not really saying like they probably put together a really nice video and put the time and effort and had the knowledge and all that stuff, but I don't know what it is. When I see stuff like that, I just go like, you just want views. You're like that guy on fucking Super Mario Maker in France who just makes a level because he knows it's gonna get a copious amount of view. And I don't know what it is. Like when I can see that, like whether or not the thing was legitimately made that way, but when you can kind of look at it, and go like, when I see that, sometimes it makes me not want to watch it because I'm like, I don't want to be part of the problem and give him an extra view.
May I actually kind of do a little bit of like diving into your mind for a second and trying to like maybe possibly figure something out?
What?
So we're going to do some inception here for a minute. So is it maybe one of those things? I noticed that you do like a lot of, I mean, I don't like using this word, but it's the best word to just describe it quickly, like geek nerd stuff. We both kind of like that stuff, but I noticed that usually whenever there seems to be something kind of like, I'm not, this isn't me attacking you, so you fucking poser, and I'm like that. But I think I kind of figured it out. I noticed when it's something, because it used to be this very kind of like you really liked it and you really had to, there's almost like a cost that came at liking it. People would give you shit for it or something. But now, since it's a lot more acceptable, you almost see a lot of these YouTube groups or YouTube like production companies kind of like almost bottling that and almost finding a way to make money off that. Does that like in some way kind of make you a little like irritated when you see something like something is so simple? It's kind of like analyzing these two characters and then saying like, well, now we're gonna do like a bunch of you know, so seeing something kind, I guess something kind of like Machinima or IGN, where they suddenly use a corporate side of it to, it's suddenly all this stuff that used to be very underground and very kind of like a certain fan basis becomes somewhat corporate. Is that what kind of bothers you in some of this kind of shit?
Well, there's this. It's like, I mean, like I think from coming from a time when like it was not the cool thing to like a lot of things like that, and just like now it's like it's nothing wrong with people liking it. I just always want to hope that people legitimately like things. The thing that always bothers me is when you see the in a sense the people out there that are kind of like fake liking it. They're liking it because it's trendy or because it is that, or anybody who uses the word like I'm geeking out. Like when I hear things like that, I'm like, no, 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 no. Because to me, like, okay, now geek's not really the bad word.
Can't use that word. That's our word.
Well, sometimes like the word like nerd to me always sounds like a derogatory term. Like I look at that word and it's almost it comes across like a racial slur.
The
And
other
it's
N-word.
and it's weird that people like accept it and use it sort of like that, but that's kind of what that word is. That word is like the word that like jocks in the 50s would be like, "Hey, you fucking nerd." You know what I mean? And I guess jock would be like another racial slur, but you know, generally like so like when people kind of praise it and use that, it's kind of a weird one to go like, oh yeah, like I'm a nerd. It's just like that to
So
me.
when you got something
That to me
like,
just comes across like an Asian person just going like, I'm a gook, and it's just like it's like you don't just. It's like, and just be almost if you were like another Asian person, be like, no, 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 don't be proud of that word. That's like that's what they called you because they didn't like you. They're like, yeah, but it's the cool thing now. We're gooking out, and it's like, oh Jesus Christ, stop saying that.
stop saying it. It just made it worse.
It's gook out weekend. And it's like, oh Jesus Christ, would you just shut the fuck up for once? And stuff. He's like, I'm a fish head now. It's the cool club. It's just like, oh my god. And I think sometimes when I see stuff like that, that's all I think is I look at it just like that racial slur and almost like somebody who just jumped in there, like who didn't know anything of it. They're like, look at me, you know, like I'm just gonna be part of this club now because it's so cool and stuff. It's like that's what they used to call people that like they slandered for many of years, but now it's like whatever. I guess I see sort of stuff like that, and it always has bothered me. And it's that thing. It's just like. I guess because there was a time period like when you like something, you put a lot of effort into really liking it and really enjoying it, and now people look at things and they go, "Hey," or sometimes it's come to cosplayers because you know some of those people are so fake and phony, and they just kind of it's sort of like models and went like, my agent told me I can make a lot of money if I go out there and dress up like. You know, Bayonetta or Blood Rain and stuff like that. It's like, and they get that where you're like, okay, well, you're not doing it because you like the characters. You're doing it because you realize that there was a market you could jump in and people would pay for it. And I think that kind of bothers me. Where back in the day, it's like if somebody dressed up like Blood Rain or something like that, it's because she really liked Blood Rain. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I guess it's one of the. Go ahead.
I said there just wasn't that like market that you know people have like exploited over and over. And sometimes I see things like those battles like that. Now those guys could legitimately be it. And I'm not against anybody trying to make money. I think that's the best thing you can do in life is find something that's good and make money off of it. But it does feel like you're exploiting it at the same time.
Well, those ones right there, I could see. I mean, I don't know for a fact. It's because they really do their research. Even sometimes when they break down the characters, because they spend like the first half of the video breaking down each character and explaining them. And they really do their research, and it really does seem kind of like they care about what they're doing. And I don't know if it's just two guys that kind of like pinpoint what they want to talk about and they have a team that kind of makes the video to happen,
Hmm.
or if it's just kind of like they got a whole team to do all this research on these characters and pull clips and all that. Those ones are pretty interesting, and I think I can kind of see what you're saying, but I do see kind of what you're saying in a sense of like, I mean, it is. I mean, there's a time where it bothered me a lot more, but now it doesn't really bother me that much. I guess there is that sense of like kind of like false, like I guess I don't know. I guess being kind of like, for lack of a better word, and I don't, you know what I mean by this, but kind of I guess like a fake nerd, just because.
The
And I
trendy
think
nerd
that's,
is kind of like how I look
yeah,
at it.
and it's gonna like, and because that's just kind of like, because everything kind of comes and goes in waves. Eventually, this shit, it's not gonna say it's gonna be gone forever, but it's gonna become a little less popular for a while until something else happens, and then it's gonna become popular again. Um, I feel like it's kind of helping oversaturation.
Mm.
And it's going to be kind of, some people are going to kind of look down upon it at some point. Now, I'm sure there are like actual, I'm sure there are actual like people who do like this. I'm not saying that everyone, I'm not saying you have to like it as much as us or anything like that, but I do feel like there are those that just kind of, they just kind of hopped on the bandwagon. And if like, they found out about like, Marvel through the Iron Man movie or whatever, that's totally fine. My biggest problem is just people who, they might say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go check out the Avengers movie," and then someone mentions the comic, and they just roll their eyes at that. That
Exactly.
that's that that's the big thing. It's like one of those things, because I went to high school with some of those kind of people, even college with some of those people. We're just like, "Oh, that's the comic. There's a difference." Actually, no, it's not. You talked about how much you like Dark Knight. Where do you think it got out from shit from? It didn't suddenly just get dark out of nowhere. All that shit was in the fucking comic, you know?
Exactly. And now it seems like people are much better about that nowadays because like we were like on the tail end of like with like the hateful like the hate train of that kind of stuff is. And I think now it's like one of those ones. I always think if you went to high school now, like you could like all that stuff and you'd probably like the most popular kid in school, which is like the weirdest concept.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most, but up there. It's funny how that kind of like took over so much in a short amount of time. But it is sort of that thing that sometimes I guess it's one of those ones where yeah, you either get the people that they really like, like, oh yeah, I really like Iron Man. And it's like, oh well, here's this Iron Man book. Like, fucking get that book out of here. That's fucking gay. And you're like, oh, but you said you really liked Iron Man. No, I like Robert Downey Jr. And you're like, yeah, he's Iron Man. Not Tony Stark. Tony Stark's a faggot. And you're like, okay, it's like you're not really getting the point here. But you get those people like that who are just kind of like the
Like, I'm not
douchebags.
saying they gotta read the comic or they
No, no, no.
gotta read. I'm just saying that the people that kind of like, they like one thing but they roll
They
their
they
eyes
put
at the
down the other
concept
one.
of a comic book. Yeah.
And I think it sometimes comes with like I think it's just I guess because there is like, and I think it's the younger generation that kind of like they came into like the world where like nobody like where geek was like that's the cool thing to be. So like maybe that's where they like the geeking out and things like that. I've seen older people say that too. That phrase to me just makes me like shudder. Just like I don't know what it is. Just like no, you don't say that. It's like almost like in a sense like because I don't know. I just think of a time period where like people didn't even call themselves like geeks and things like that. It's like no, we're not geeks. We just it's not like we're not geeks. We just happen to like comic books, video games, and computers. And it's just like, what do you mean you're not geeks? We're just not geeks. It's just like that's an offensive term. We don't like that one. What do you guys want to be called? I don't know. Just say we're artists or something like that.
I remember like almost getting into a fight with somebody for calling me a nerd back in middle school.
Well, that's what I mean because like, it's an offensive term. It was just like it was So I think that's like weird that like now it's such an accepted term. And I don't know. Maybe to me it's just I guess yeah. As I said, it's like an Asian person just saying like, "Yo, we're gooking out today," and it's just like that's what people that didn't like you used to call you when they were
We're taking
overshooting
it
up your
back, kind
pencil.
of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones like because we all know that a nerd never called themselves a nerd first. you
Yeah,
know,
exactly. I mean, one of those things, I get what they're trying to do, but I think I mean, we're getting a little too deep here now, but I think that it's more one of those things. Like I was gonna say, do you think it's one of those things when I mean, this is kind of retapping territory we went to, but do you think it's more one of those things when you see like some company, like going back using this word again, IGN, using like some company taking this stuff and like exploiting it to us. Maybe exploiting might be too strong of a word, but kind of like just focusing in on this thing so much to where what used to seem kind of like underground and very niche now seems to be just kind of like another just another big And granted, Marvel's a huge company now. There's a point where Marvel is almost a bankruptcy, but it was, so I guess it's kind of a snaking its tail in that aspect. But is it more one of those things where you see something that only a handful of people used to like, but now it's just kind of like, we're a big production group and we're just trying to, like, they don't really care about it. They're more of just like utilizing the stuff because they know it's going to get views. Is that what really bothers you about it for the most part when it comes to that kind of like
whenever
YouTube,
something comes across as fake, that's the only thing is when
Uh-huh.
and you can tell instantly when somebody legitimately likes something, or if because IGN, even though they've been around forever since like the internet just about.
They like the CNN of like video game news.
They are now, but they weren't that. That website's been there for a long time, and it's only in like the last 10 years has it become like really popular. It seems like.
But they seem to be kind of like, because they've been around for a while, but they seem kind of like, this is IGN. We are the central for video game and geek culture related topics. They seem to be very kind of like, it's like, we are the voice of video games and pop culture. You know what I mean? They always seem to be very kind of like. I mean, they're very diverse in the things they talk about, but they always do seem very like we are the number one source, most trusted.
Well, sort of
IGN.
Companies like because IGN kind of reminds me it's in that same ballpark as like GameStop, maybe not nearly as bad as that, but it kind of reminds me it's not that far off. And whenever you'll see something like they'll have ads for their podcast, and the idea of listening to a podcast of a company like IGN or something like that, it's just like. That to me also feels too. It's like no. When it comes to podcasts, it's like once you make podcasts like corporate like that, to me it loses like it's like no. I don't want to listen to a podcast that's not by like some kind of regular guy or even like I know celebrities kind of pigeonhole a lot of podcasting in a sense because it's just something that's easy for them to do. But that still feels a little bit different because a lot of the celebrity ones mostly all still feel it's like hey, here's me just expressing myself, like Kevin Smith or even wrestlers like Chris Jericho and so on. Stone Cold do it.
Chris Hardwick.
Yeah, Chris Hardwick.
He's not a wrestler, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but so there is. I mean, like they've kind of like got a big group of it, but something about when there's like like IGN making a podcast and it's like it's a corporate paid podcast and all that kind of stuff. Like that's to me is like how do you listen to that? That takes away the freedom of what a podcast sort of is. 'Cause they're not going to be on there just saying whatever they feel like and so on. Which if like Kevin Smith's one, he's going to say whatever he feels like. That's what I kind of like about that one, even though he is a celebrity.
Exactly. That's kind of yeah.
But no, it's like it's one of those like it's kind of like a double-edged sword because like you like it because it's good that there is a lot of money coming in because that's what creates these big movies. That's why we get sweet things like Batman versus Superman. That's why we get the DCU movies because it got a little bit more popular. That's why we get all these Marvel movies, and that's why you get big budget games and so on. It's like so there is something cool about like that part because you don't get that money from a handful of people. You get that money from a group of people, a huge group of people. But at the same time, I think it's kind of like if you're gonna like something, like it. Don't fake like it though. I think that's what always kind of bothers me. Like if you don't really like something, don't fake your way into it. Either like it or be yourself. As Robin Williams said in Aladdin,
get the fuck
be
out.
yourself. No, he didn't say get the fuck out in that movie. Hey Aladdin, get the fuck out.
Didn't win an Academy Award for his song in that one.
But no, it's just one of those ones.
Get the fuck out! Get the fuck out! Instead of like I'm the only friend you're gonna need or whatever that was.
Well, that probably is one of the songs he wanted to sing. Is he's like, I've been in this land for a long time. I just want to get the fuck out.
Really want to just get the fuck out of this audio booth, right? This recording booth.
But no, that's just kind of how it is. I think it's just as long as you don't get those phony people, and no matter what, you're always gonna have phony people. It's like sports teams. Like that's the one that always makes me laugh. Is like. No matter what, like I've always said, like if somebody asks me, like, what's your favorite football team? I'm like 49ers. I've said that my entire life. It's just because, you live in this area. It's who you like. But I remember when the 49ers, like that team used to be so hated. You almost didn't tell people you liked the 49ers in school because people like, it was at that point where they just died off from Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and all that stuff. And they just kind of went pew all the way down. So nobody liked the 49ers. You didn't tell people you liked the 49ers. You just said, like, I like hockey or something like that. Because if you said you like the 49ers, you'd be like, you like the 40-winers? You fucking loser. Why don't you like the Raiders or something cool that's, a team that does good? No, this was like the late 90s. So it was a different time period. Raiders eventually became that team, too, where people are like, you like the fucking Raiders? Even though they kind of stick around. They can do, like, horrible, and people still love the hell out of them.
I noticed that, yeah. Well, I'm not really a diehard football fan. If I did have a team, I'd say it was the Niners. But there was the story. RJ,
what I'm saying, though,
I was going to say this real quick. RJ, this relates to the fake fan thing because RJ, I mean, since he's such a Raiders fan, of course he's gonna post this shit. RJ posted like somebody like there's some news story about a guy who was a big member of like a 49ers fan club thing, and he was like the leader of it. But since the Niners weren't doing good, he was selling all his season passes, and he was promoting other 49er fans sell their season passes because they weren't doing that good. And it was just kind of one of those things like, so I don't like where the team's going. They're not really caring anymore. So I'm and the rest of our
I'm
group are trying
abandoning
to.
ship.
Yeah. And it was just kind of like, like posted like typical bandwagon fans. Just like, I mean, it's one of those things like I'm not like a diehard 49er fan, but I was kind of like, that seems kind of like a puss move right there. Just to like, they're not doing good, fuck y'all, and leave.
Well, because this is what it all comes around to. It's like, and I use that football example because I think everybody can relate that. Everybody's seen that. And then once the 49ers started doing good, everybody just started being like, all of a sudden there's 49ers merchandise everywhere. Everybody seemed to like the 49ers and stuff like that. And it was just kind of like that thing. I just kind of go like, 10 years ago, like 75% of you would never have said that. And I think that sort of like fake fan, you only join the team that's because they're doing good. You only are on the winning team side. I think that's the sign of somebody who's not a true fan. Because a true fan will like something when it's doing shitty. A true fan would like Nintendo maybe if they weren't producing as many games. You know what I mean? Because they're like, well, I love Nintendo. Like I always feel like those people that kind of jumped off the Nintendo bandwagon, they just kind of go, I don't care about Nintendo anymore. They stopped making games I like, so fuck them. Like you could tell that was never clearly a fan. They might have enjoyed some stuff that they released, but they were never a fan. And I feel like that's like almost of a sports team too. Like if you're gonna like a sports team, like them till the very end. Like them until that team actually literally disappears, maybe, and then still like them. Why not?
Yeah.
And I think the same way there. And I just think it's one of those ones like when you get those people that are just jumping on, the comic book fan train just because it's popular, it's the end thing. And then when comic books are not popular anymore, they jump off. Then you'll know who the true fans still are. Or if the movies start to do bad or something like that, you know who the true fans are, the ones that would keep showing up. Even if the movies weren't that great, they'd just be grateful because they're still making something.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where that thing goes, and I think ends, and it's a good place just to say, just be a true fan. Be an all-American true fan. No. I don't know what
all American only. No.
It's hard to say all and something fan without putting American in the center.
Yeah. Just don't be a fair weather fan or a fair weather fan.
Just be there to the end. Don't be one of those people that likes the 49ers when they're popular but doesn't like them when they're like down there, dug in.
Yeah. It's like you don't like I like Sonic and I'll always like Sonic. Doesn't mean I'm gonna go buy every Sonic example. Game. Yeah, I'm always gonna like that character. Doesn't mean I'm gonna go out and buy every game. When the game looks good again, though, like I'll keep my eye to it. I'll be honest, none of the games have been jumping out at me lately. But when a game does come out, I'm like, all right, let's check this out, see what that's all about. I always got my eye to it, and I always gonna love the original stuff.
See, that is a perfect example right there, where so many people like just don't care about Sonic anymore because that's just not what they want. And granted, Sonic has been kind of like in the lower ends. They've had a handful of good games in the last 10 years or so, but it hasn't been the grandest period of Sonic. But the thing is, you stick with it no matter what. Yeah. That's kind of the thing. That's what makes people different. But yeah.
We should probably wrap this up, though.
Yeah, it's getting late in the podcast zone, but that's a good place to leave it all off at. Till then, well, go check out oldmanorange.com to go see more cartoons, podcasts, animation videos, music, and more. Make sure to check out Wallaby the Rabbit. Still trying to get that going around even more. You can see that on YouTube, Vimeo, Dailymotion, Newgrounds, all kinds of good places. And until then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan, and one more little plug right here. I'm probably going to be on the something may happen. You never know. There may be some troubles through like connections or something. But I may be on the Robin Slim podcast, which is a live show this coming Wednesday. I don't know when you're putting this one up, but this coming Wednesday I may be on their show. So yeah,
this one should be up at least by later today, if not tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, who knows what could happen? Maybe there's like rescheduling, but I may be on their podcast at some point. So yeah. Anyway, have a good one, folks.
And see you later. Thanks for listening to the Old Man Orange podcast. Check out our website at oldmanorange.com for even more podcasts, cartoons, videos, music, and more. Send us an email at oldmanorangepodcast@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review us on iTunes, Podomatic, or any of the other fine sites we might be located on. If you want to help out even more,
click on the Amazon or GameStop links on our webpage before you make any purchases there. It won't cost you a penny, but it sends us a little something our way. Thanks again, and tune in next week for more Old Man Orange Podcast.